afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Last Chance Saloon. Welcome to the online darts watch along for the 2025 World Championship qualifiers. I am joined. We have it's brilliant. We get represented from around the world. I am joined from our friend over the pond, Anthony Eugenia. Anthony, how are you? In what must be a very early start for you over there.
Oh, Dan, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for Phil and the online darts family for extending the invite, and happy to be with you today, Dan. And yes, it's a very early morning here in Texas in the United States, but I've got my coffee at the ready. We've got a warm bowl of oatmeal, and as my shirt indicates, I mean, if this is not early Christmas for any dart fan, I don't know what is. An exciting day to see who will, try to attempt to fulfill dreams and earn their spot in the World Championship. And look at that. Right on cue, he gives me a North American.
Well, it seemed, just as I was having a look, I was going to go out to the chat room and see who everybody wanted to see. And then I noticed that we had some North American representation in this first round of matches. So we went straight in with Danny Van Tripe against Danny Lively, which, to be fair, like, it's not a dislikable game. That looks like quite a nice little fixture to watch. That
Not at all.
I can definitely get excited for that. So for those watching along in the chat room, please make sure you get involved. Anthony and I will do our best to guide you through what is happening and what's occurring. Please get involved in the chat room. Otherwise, it's just us two chatting all afternoon, and it's nice to get some other opinions and other thoughts as well. You will notice if you aren't subscribed to the channel, you can't chat, which is a little trick that we play on you to make sure that now, and we are unbelievably close to 40,000 subscribers. It's like handfuls away. We're so close. So if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do. We've obviously got a big day today because we've got this watch along with Anthony this afternoon to see these last qualifiers for the World. Then we've got the World Championship draw a little bit later on, 4:30 UK time. We're going to be live for that as well. And then we've got the live lounge this evening because it's Monday night. So busy day in the online darts family.
Big day.
Go on, yeah, it's a huge day. It's a huge day in darts, and we're looking for, I think it's already been brought up in the chat room a couple of times, 4 qualifiers today. So there are 4 spots available. And before we start to see too many early results and breaks of throw and indications of what might happen, Anthony, I'll come to you first of all, and in the chat room as well, get involved. Who is going to come through? This could be quite a chaotic couple of hours. Who are your picks? Who do you think is going to get over the line?
Quite honestly, I'm just sort of getting an assessment on the field, getting the day started early here in Texas. I want to get a grasp on the entries. I know as we warmed up, you mentioned that there's a good portion of the field that's got a bye, which puts them in the round of 32. So we need to sort of get an assessment on that and see the strength of those players. Yeah. So I will work on some predictions, and I know who I'm working with. So I have in my refrigerator, since I'm off the drink for quite a while, I do have some predicting grape juice in the refrigerator. So
because I do like to, as many know, I do like to participate in a drink or two. But it's a little bit early today, and my kids. So I'm gonna shout this one up in advance to the chat room that my kids are on what in the UK is a PD day, which essentially means my kids haven't gone to school today. So my well-planned afternoon off work to do this stream has been completely hijacked by the fact that the kids are in the house and allegedly still need to be cared for. So if we do end up with children appearing on the stream at different points, then it's going to happen. It also means that I'm having to stick to the Pellegrino this afternoon.
Fair play. I'm only laughing so hard because folks expect the same from me. Newly single dad, and the kids were not supposed to be with me. I'm blessed to have them, but they are in the next room as well, unexpectedly. I put them in the small room. I'm in the big room with the lights and the cameras and everything. So same thing, Dan. As you said,
we could be
they're
joined.
expected to be taken care of, but we'll see.
Yeah, I've left everybody with snacks and television remotes in the hope that they just get on with it.
Exactly. I've got breakfast set up. It's like, please go take care of yourselves. Oh boy.
So we've got the first break of throw of the day. Adam Warner has took a 2-0 lead over Darren Beveridge. That's the first time we've had someone break a throw and start in this early stage to move ahead. Now we are playing, folks. I know we did a watch along quite recently for the slam. Those or for the qualifiers for the slam. Those qualifiers were first to 5. For the World Championships, that's a slightly longer format. So we're playing the first to 6 legs. So best of 11 is the format that we are playing here. You've got a couple of chances, I think, today, the North Americans, Anthony. You've got three representatives, I think, already, haven't you? In Gates, Long, and Bunce, I think, are the 3 confirmed.
Correct. Those are places that are booked in the World Championship. Leonard Gates coming through. For full disclosure, for those who may not be aware, I am part of one of the founders of the Championship Darts Corporation, which runs the Championship Darts circuit in North America. So we help to put some of those players up there. So Leonard Gates was our U.S. representative, Jim Long, the Canadian representative, and Stowe Bunce was the 3rd player in through the what would have been the North American Championship winner, which was Matt Campbell, but he was ineligible. So Stowe got that based on the rankings.
Yeah, and we've got 2 more from what I can get. And again, we weren't really certain exactly what that field would be. And we weren't sure who was confirmed, who would turn up, who wouldn't. Obviously, we know there's a couple of big names missing. I spoke to Adrian Lewis about a month or so ago at an event in Whitby, and at the time he said he wasn't quite sure, didn't know if he was going to come and play this qualifier or not. But now we've seen the field. I think we've got 2. I think we've got 2 North Americans in the field today. We've got Danny Lauby, who's on our feature game, 2-1 down to Danny Van Tripe, and Matt Campbell, who is one of those 16 lucky players with a bye in the first round. So Matt Campbell is awaiting the winner of Mario Vandenbohara and Willie Borland.
Yeah, looking up those seeds, as you mentioned, let's see, we seeded to 16, I believe.
Yes, seeded to 16.
DeSouza is your 1. Gaulis is your 8. I'm just going down the bracket from top to bottom. Evans is your 9. Kritchmar is your 4. Whitlock is your 5. Kaivahoven is your 12. Beaton, Mr. Beaton is the number 2 seed. Who does not want to see Steve Beaton qualify for the World Championships?
But if you have a look at that bracket that he's in as well, there are some players in that bracket who are real dangers. Keegan Brown's in there, Steve Lennon's in there. Guys that can play on TV and win big matches when it counts. So, Steve Beaton, I think everyone would love him to come through this, but he's been granted a fairly tough draw, I think, on that board.
Moving down, Jamie Hughes is your 7. Sliven is the 10. There's Matt Campbell, as mentioned, the 3. Mr. Mervyn King gets the 6 seed. Ralby John.
I'm actually representing Merv King today. We've got the Merv King shirt on. It's
boy.
There's the story behind this one. Is that this was a match 1 signed Mervyn King shirt that Mrs. Simpson didn't realise was a signed Mervyn King shirt. Put it in the wash. Now it's just a Mervyn King shirt. It was a signed Mervyn King shirt. Now it's just a Mervyn King shirt. As Danny Lauby takes out, he goes Shanghai, and he's taken out 120 for a break of throw and a 3-2 lead. What a perfect moment in the match for that 120 for Danny Lauby.
Now, we must apologize to the viewers ahead of time. We understand it might get quite confusing as Dan and I sound so familiar, so similar to each other, just 2 Northeast lads enjoying the darts today. So our apologies prior to the confusion.
Yeah, definitely. Two Northeast representatives. I hadn't thought of that. And I'll point out there another Northeast representative in Adam Hunt, a couple of lads from my part of the world who's taking part today, goes 3-1 up on Callan Goffin. Another player we'll be looking out for as well. I gave him a little shout on social media before we came on. Rob Grundy, who is based probably about 3 miles from where I live. He's a really close neighbour of mine, so we'll be keeping an eye out for Rob Grundy as well. Now, here's one that's going to, and I know that this will get people talking in the chat room, as Adam Smith-Neale goes 4-2 up on Rhys Griffin. This is the first time we've seen Adam Smith-Neale play competitive darts of any sort since he was banned for that, well, I was going to say assault, but I'll go with punch. In it, as he managed to punch, he struck one of his opponents in a game, in a club, in a sort of more relaxed environment, it seemed. But Adam Smith-Neale caused a bit of controversy. It wasn't a real popular thing on Planet Darts when he won that tour card. But he's a bit of a lottery, I think, today, because we've no idea how he's playing. Nobody does, do they?
No. And numbers right out of the gate are pretty good. A lot of 90 averages. Pascal Ruprecht, over 100. Mario van de Bogen, up 4-1 on Willie Borland as we get underway.
Yeah, Super Mario, he had a really good weekend in Minehead at the Players' Championships. We saw some really good darts from him. And that might have been almost perfect timing, I think, for him coming into this, because he is one of the very few players that we'll see today who has played very competitively, playing really good quality darts just this weekend gone. So he's got to be coming into it with a lot of confidence.
Now, I'm confirming there's a question on how many boards they're playing on. It looks like they're playing on 8 boards.
Yeah, eight boards. So it is a bit of a strange setup because of the number of players that we've got. And then don't forget, folks, as well, we are not playing to a winner today. You know, we're so used to these streams where we play to get, you know, all the way to somebody getting a check at the end of it. That's what it's for. That is not what today is all about. If you get to the quarterfinals, you go home. You've done your job for the day. If you reach the quarterfinals, the final 4 players. No, sorry, semi-finals, of course. If you reach that stage in the proceedings, if you reach the semi-final, your day is done. And you can enjoy.
You sit back and you nervously watch the upcoming draw.
You do, but knowing that you are £7,500 better off, as I believe that off the top of my head, I think that's
you are correct.
First round losers money, isn't it?
I was trying to pull up a few tabs. So at the ready, I've got some Wikipedia, some darts database, and darts rankings, all of that good stuff up. So yes, £7,500 for a first round loser, and that doubles in the second round, so 15,000. So yeah, a lot to play for just to qualify for the event.
Yeah, it's. I mean, let's be honest. It's probably in darts this qualifier this afternoon. It's the least work you'll ever have to do for £7,500. It's a real opportunity. But we'll have a look at it a little bit later. We'll go into a bit more detail because this really could be very important for some players who are in that race for a tour card. So Simon Whitlock, for example, in that tour card race. And don't forget, folks, to keep your tour card, you've got to finish in that top 64. Simon Whitlock is currently in position number 64. Now, if Simon Whitlock doesn't qualify today, he's not adding to his money. He's not adding to what he's got. So that the £69,250 that he's got there, that can't increase. But underneath him, we've got Lee Evans, Dylan Slevin, Jamie Hughes, Mervyn King, Mike Kyvenhoven, all names who are seeded in today's draw. So that £7,500 could really, really make things interesting, not just on whether or not people get to play in the World Championships, but whether come January they remain a professional dart player with a PDC tour card.
Yeah, Lee Evans and Sliven and Hughes right there at 66,000. So right behind Simon Whitlock.
Yeah, and that will get interesting. As I say, once we get the likes of Whitlock on screen, and certainly if he moves through a couple of rounds today, I know Simon's seeded, but if he does move through a couple of rounds, then that could get really, really nervy for players around there. Because don't forget, Simon can move up as well. You know, whilst Simon sat there, but he is only £750 behind Boris Kirchmar, who's in today's tournament as well. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Adam Smith-Neal up 5-4 on Griffin. We've tied it up. Griffin 5-5.
It's leveled up, and Danny Lauby could get a dart for the match here. He's got 90. He's got 3 darts to get rid of it. You'd like to think he could get himself a dart at something from here. But there is pressure on it. Danny Van Trijk waiting on a go double 2 if he comes back. He's missed the ball. He's missed the ball, as Danny Lauby. And it's going to keep going. It's going to go on that little bit longer. Just a quick shout out. We have got a load of you in the chat room today. It's really busy. We'll do our best to keep an eye on it. Just having a quick look through at who are in. Sorry, I'm trying to go back and look who's in there, but there's loads of them. James, Sammy, Tommy Boy's in. Daz is obviously in. Kev's in. Harry, Kieran. Who else is in there? Matador's in. So's Daniel Brown. Ryan's in there. It's hectic. Jacob, I apologise when I'm missing people because there's just so much going on in the chat room today. So many people on watching. Please do keep getting in though. Keep me up to date. I'm going to miss stuff. So is Anthony. There's loads of games going on at the same time. We can only look at so many screens at once, so we will inevitably miss the most important things. There'll be a 9 dart or something.
Welcome into everybody in the chat, and as an active member of the chat myself, it is a large part of the program. So make your comments and your questions heard. It does make the day a lot of fun to be active there in the chat. Don't forget to like today's stream, and of course subscribe to the channel.
We're hoping we are literally a couple of hundred away from that 40,000 mark, and it will be absolutely superb if we could get there today. We've got just to come to Rob about what's the plan for the rest of the day from Online Darts here. So I've got a really busy day streaming. We are obviously doing the live watch along now for the qualifiers. We're then going to come back live again for the draw. Adam Smith-Neal out. I know there will be some in the chat room with some strong opinions on that, but he is out of the World Championship qualifier as Rhys Griffin comes from behind for a 6-5 win. So we're going to be live for the draw a bit later on today. We will be live for that. And then we'll also, Rob, be doing the live lounge as usual tonight because it's Monday night and we've got lots to talk about because we're going to have to reflect on that draw a little bit more. But also, we've got a lot to talk about from this weekend because there was a little bit of a tournament going on down in Minehead. Just recapping a few results as I was talking there. We've had a few of them. Mario van den Bohara, 6-2 victory over Willie Borland. Danny Lauby got the job done, 6-4 win over Danny Van Trijk. Adam Hunt, 6-2 victory. The North East lads are doing it. And Paul Croner, 6-3 over Nathan Rafferty. So a few players there that we've seen. We've seen spectacular scenes from Willie Borland with that 9 darter on the Ali Pali stage, but we won't be seeing him back there this year. We've got some interesting games warming up now as well.
Monk Knops on board 2. How do we say, how is that pronounced? Jeffrey Sparidans? Sparidans.
Let's go with that. It's probably wrong. If you say it with enough confidence, people don't question you. That's all it is. You just got, as long as you commit to it 100%, it's all in the commitment.
Absolutely.
And
Ron Hybrex. That's going to be Ronnie Hybrex that is on board 3 in a few moments.
Oh yeah, so Rob Grundy there on board 8 against Owen Bates. That is going to be a tough game. That is going to be a tough game for Rob Grundy. Obviously, I'm watching out for him because he's just a few miles away from me. But I also know in the chat room we have always have a big following for Michele Turetta. The Italians like to get in and support their man. So I know there will be some in the chat room getting excited at that game warming up. Barry Van Peer won away. He's 5-3 up on George Killington. Darren Beveridge as well won away. I'm just going to wait and see for the feature game. I think we're going to stick with this screen because it's going to show Rob Grundy.
Another good one that looks on the horizon up next on board 5 once Warner Beveridge get through. Right, currently Beveridge 5-4 ahead of Warner. Graham Hall, Keegan Brown. That's one I want to keep tabs on.
Yeah, what's really interesting is there are players. It's funny, this field, isn't it? Because there are players here who we know they've got the game that if they do get to the World Championships, they could do a bit. You know, they've all got the game where they could get over the line, and they could. Well, I'm not saying win it, but they're not first round exits. Some of these guys, they could all win 2 or 3 games and play their way into some form.
Yeah. You've got players in this field who have pedigrees, who have resumes, CVs, if you will. So, as you said, it's the experience, and that's sort of what I meant about the first part of today's job is to get through the qualifier, get to the top 4, earn your place, and then it's about, well, how is it going to break when the draw comes out? What does my particular section of the draw look like, and what kind of moves can I make once I'm in the tournament proper?
Absolutely.
We saw Danny Lauby get through, so he's going to take on one Mervyn King.
I'm just having another surf up and down the draw.
I see in the chat touching on a question on why players. I'll read the whole thing. Dan and Anthony, any opinion on Dom Taylor getting suspended for failing a drug test and missing out on Mindhead as a result? Why do some players jeopardize their careers by doing stupid stuff? Well, I'll take that and further generalize it. Why do people in their lives do stupid stuff?
Yeah, it's not exclusive to darts.
Yeah, exactly. Jeopardize their career working, at the doc or at the doctor's office or at the school. So it's one of those things in life. A celebrity gets busted buying drugs, and it's like you've got enough money to go have a lackey go buy your drugs for you, but people make bad decisions in life, and I'm sure it's a regrettable decision, and you become an adult about it. You take the penalties, you address it, and you move on, and everyone's afforded a second chance. So
yeah, and that is it. We've seen, again, regardless of your opinions on that, we have seen a player who's come back from a ban today. He got beat, but he played all right. He looked like he was going to win that game for spells. So yeah, I certainly don't think it's the end of Dom Taylor's career. I think we will see him back on a PDC stage again. I think you almost answered your own question in sort of saying, well, doing stupid stuff. Yeah, that it's difficult to really, if you're in a working environment where you're going to get tested, then don't make it easy.
That's not condoning any behavior like that, but it's people make mistakes like that, and there are sometimes no legitimate reasons why people just make stupid mistakes.
Yeah, just another one to pull out the chat room as well, because we've got some really good action in the chat room, so keep it flowing, guys. Stuart's mentioned about wishing the best of luck to Jeroen van der Velde. Now, poor guy. I mean, not poor guy. You have to hit the doubles to win that match, but he was edged out of that World Youth Championships yesterday. And as I said, that's not just winning the World Youth. It's another $7,500 for qualifying for the World Championships. It's getting the chance to appear on the stage at Ali Pali. I don't think there's a darts fan in the world that will not be rooting a little bit for Jeroen van der Velde today after yesterday.
Absolutely, yeah. And I thought for a moment that Van Veen might have taken that opportunity when Dan was interviewing him and talked that last year he was in that position and lost to Littler. So at least that's some solace to show the other young man that, I was in that same spot. You've got an opportunity next year to come back and win this championship. And I will actually push back a little bit I think in a way, especially when you're talking about a youth championship, it's based on time. So, that's something for the resume that you carry for a long time. So I think as time goes on, it's more impactful that he didn't win the title more than the money and the spot at the World Championship and things like that. If that makes any sense, to carry around that title of a youth world champion. Michael Smith, we still mention being a youth world champion, Yeah,
there's huge, some very, very huge names that have gone on to do spectacular things in the sport have held that title. As Rob Grundy goes 2-0 down, Owen Bates, a great leg there actually from both players. They're both played some lovely stuff. But
in all fairness, there's some players that never won that title that worked out okay.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah, absolutely right. So we've now got, because we've had some of these first round games coming in, and we've got some buys through at the first round. That second round has started to just become a little bit clearer what the route to qualifying is going to be. Now, some bad news that I've got for you, Anthony, is that the two North American representatives find themselves drawn into the same quarter, which means firstly, it increases the chance of a North American coming through, putting them both in the same quarter. But at the same time, it means you can't have them both.
We can't have everything, Dan. Can't have everything.
And they're not straightforward games either, because Matt Campbell in his opening game is going to play Mario Vanden Bohara, who, as we said, had a superb weekend in Minehead. And Danny Lauby is going to take on Mervyn King. So these are not straightforward games. The North Americans are not having it all their own way today.
I should have made a couple of phone calls. What is this here? Come on, people. Give us a break.
We've also got second round fixtures confirmed of Simon Whitlock against Paul Croner. We've got Adam Gavlas against Adam Hunt in the Adam Derby.
That's a tasty matchup.
Yeah, it is enough. Yeah, two players that are a great watch. Barry Van Peer, 6-5 victory over George Killington. George Killington will not be going to Palace this year. And that last game, just to confirm in the second round so far, is Rhys Griffin against Jose de Souza. Neil Duff is in the chat room. Duffman is in. Good to see you in there, mate. Yeah, I agree. I think there'll be a lot of people alongside you there rooting for the Mad Monk, hoping that Aaron can get it done. He's had a bit of a slack start. He's had a couple of rough legs. He's going to need to find his scoring shoes. I don't think a 73 average is going to get the job done. But a player who is managing to keeping his scoring shoes on, he's got a live average now of 109. Owen Bates opens with a 180. 180. Toretta is on a 9. I haven't got a window open. Anybody got it in the chat room?
Gordans is at 109 average. 2-2 with Mikel Toretta.
Oh, he did 180, 89. So he's got 52 left. We might see an 11 dart leg from Toretta. He's averaging 106 himself. This is a superb game. Oh, he looks like he's.
I've got 3 monitors, yet I still don't have enough.
No, it's impossible. And we've only got 8 boards today. When we played twice as many boards.
I can't imagine for the Pro Tour watch along. My goodness,
it's absolute chaos. We used to split them up, and so one of us would do boards 1 to 6, someone would do 6 to 12. But then of course the maniacs decided we couldn't do it on a weekend anymore. So it's always on a weekday, and some of us are grown-ups and employed, so we have to go to work. All of a sudden, I can't do 30 days a year where I do this instead of going to work because, surprise, surprise, folks, it doesn't pay the same. It don't pay.
Not yet.
No, absolutely not. It might pay better if we could get up to 40,000 subscribers, and we are still painstakingly close. So if you are watching along, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because I genuinely believe today is the day. It's a big day today. We've got this live stream for the qualifiers. Then we're going live for the draw, and then we've got the live lounge tonight, and I think we can just get over the line today. I really do.
Yeah, and I'm always excited at the draw day. Nothing excites me more than some ping pong balls and the promise of a great event.
That's what it is. It's because you immediately start to almost fantasize about the games we think we might see. You start to think, oh, well, they might play them, and if they win, they might play this person, and you start to, and it's
absolutely. Everybody puts on the lab coat, becomes a dart scientist, and you put the spectacles on and you analyze what quarters of the bracket are the toughest and what draws and what the possibilities and if this opens up, this player can make a run.
Oh, Michele Toretta's just gone 134, 134, 130. He's broken through. Jeffrey Sparadans is averaging 106 and getting beat. He's 4-2 down. This is absolutely superb for the Italian.
I mean, that's where the game is now, right? We saw Nyman's play well over 100 in all three of his round robin groups in the Grand Slam, and not only did he not advance out of his group, he didn't win any of those three matches. I mean, this is the state of professional darts right now, and it is glorious.
It is, and at the same time, Aaron Monk can find himself 2-1 up, averaging 71. So it's a bloody lottery sometimes, isn't it? You just never quite know, do you? And sometimes I do think sometimes in these events, like, you can be done a favour by your opponent. But again, like, we know that any of these guys have got the ability to turn up and average 104, 105. They've all got that game in them somewhere. It's whether they can find that game at the right time. Jeffrey, these games aren't streamed anywhere, so this is really the best way to keep up to date with what's going on and who's qualifying. So as we start to run through these rounds, the fixtures and the draw will start to make a little bit more sense. We'll know who's going to do what. Aaron Monk takes a break of throw. He's now 3-1 up against Robbie Knox.
Ruprecht Richardson knotted at 5, so that's in the last leg decider. We'll keep an eye on that. Let me open up that in my...
Oh, Michele Toretta's just took 100 out for 5-2. He's playing superb. Jeffrey Sparadans still averaging 106. Finds himself 5-2 behind. That is truly remarkable. James A.D. Lewis did not play. I think there's some people. Everyone seems to have a different view on Adrian Lewis and the fact that he hasn't used his tour card. My personal view is I think Adrian Lewis has earned the right to do whatever the hell he wants in darts. I think he's too good. He's done too much for the game, won too many things. That if he's got some fan, I know he has been dealing with multiple family issues that probably would, be too much for most of us to deal with. The fact that he then doesn't play darts, and he doesn't need to, I think he's earned the right to do whatever the hell he wants.
Joshua Richardson takes 25 points off the board and advances 6-5 over Pascal Ruprecht. So up next on that board is Jeffrey Deswan, Ronnie Hybrex.
I'm just going to have a little check to see what that does. So the Darren Beveridge win over Adam Warner confirms that he will be the man to play Steve Beaton. I know who most of the chat room and most of Planet Darts will be cheering on in that one, and I will feel a little bit sorry for Darren Beveridge there because he will not have many supporters in that match. Some fans of Graham Hall in the chat room. Again, I think it's quite. We do see. We get a lot of people getting involved because I think some of the pro tours, you sort of everybody just watches them to see who's won the next one. Whereas this can be really career changing. Like I say, it's the difference between having a tour card and not having a tour card, and it's really pivotal.
I completely agree. Yeah, to me, this event and the chance to play in the World Championship is career changing, life changing. Just in that, chances to retain cards, the opportunities it brings, the prize money, and what that prize money does to you in the rankings. headed into 2025. It makes the difference between possible decisions at the dinner table with your wife, your significant other, about how much investment are we going to continue this dream, and it could change those equations.
Well, 100%, and it even just what the plans are, so if you look at someone like a Dylan Slevin is potentially, a couple of games away from a tour card, or a couple of games away from having to go through the absolute horror that is Q School and trying to recapture that card, or then having to consider life without a tour card. And where does he, and there's some of these guys as well. Let's not forget that some of them exclusively earn their living from darts, and some of them don't. Some of them have full-time jobs doing other things. Some of this it's a side, it's whatever. Some of them, it costs them money to be a professional dart player, alleged professional dart player. But again, there's, these things have big effects on people's lives and people's families. So it's a real big day as Aaron Monk finds himself 4-1 up now. Matty Dennant 4-3 up on Graham Usher.
Our featured game here, Owen Bates comfortably ahead 5-2 ahead of Robert Grundy. And who's your man from the Northeast? Are they both up in that way, or is it Grundy?
Yeah, so Grundy's just a few miles away. Gets a leg on it. Oh, it was a break of throw there as well from Rob Grundy. And Adam Hunt's not far as well. Adam Hunt's a Geordie. He's from up this part of the world. I always like to look out for the guys from around here. There's not too many of us. Good when we're represented. I mean, obviously we'll have a few from around here at the World Championships. Dobie, of course, will be there. Ryan Joyce will be there. It would be really good if we could have another couple of guys there as well. Another one at least.
So a conversation piece that you kind of connected. You brought up Beaton and then into Adrian Lewis in the same sort of breath. Now, Lewis, since he won the 2 world championships, is probably not the best example, but I think you'll understand the question. I've always had a lot of respect for Steve Beaton and the career he's put together, and I wonder what would be seen as the better professional career, a player. I mean, outside obviously of Beaton winning the BDO championship, but a career of an extended 20-year career, always being, top 16, if you will, making all the majors, earning a good living, or the player who might have the 6-year burst, win maybe a world championship, maybe not, maybe a few majors, which is, what would be the better career to have? I
suppose you could look
to go towards a Beaton.
Yeah, I think certainly in how you will be. It depends on whether you want to make money or you want to make a legacy. If you want to win big hitters, big events, buy a chip shop, retire, get out of darts as quick as you can, come in, grab some money and clear off and do something else. Then some could say that someone like a Gerwyn Price has had the perfect career, and if it all came to an end tomorrow and he walked away from it, he's had
he'd be just fine.
Yeah. But what you won't have is people looking back at the legacy that he has and what he's brought to the game, and there's no romance to that, which you get with someone like a Steve Beaton. Rob Grundy, I'm afraid his race is ran, and Owen Bates, the master, takes one step closer to Ali Pali, where you can be assured he will not be allowed to use that nickname. You can be certain that Sky will not let him run with that one. Let's have a little think about what we want for a feature game.
Brown and Hall are currently tied at 2. Deswan out early, 1-0 over Ronnie Hybrex. Daniel Klaas ahead 4-1. And we'll take a look back at the bracket and see what is on the horizon.
We'll go with the Swan, I think. We'll go Jeffrey Deswan against Ronnie Hybrex for a feature game.
And we've got matches that are shaping up for the last 32.
Well, they're not messing about, are they?
Nope. There were some seeded players that were received a bye through the last 32. So once we're in the last 32 stage, it'll be a full bracket proper. And as a reminder, these players are just playing to get to the semifinals. So when we have 4 players remaining, those are the players that will earn their spot in the 2025 Pouty Power PDC World Darts Championship.
It's all getting a little bit exciting. Aaron Monk wins 6-2. We know that Aaron is a friend of online darts. And there's a lot in the chat room that will be happy with that 6-2 victory.
Yep. And that'll move him into a matchup with Lee Evans, the 9 seed. And we talked about Evans earlier. He's on the cusp of looking to retain a card. He's sitting directly behind Simon Whitlock. So we'll keep our eyes on that sort of twosome as they look to retain their PDC Tour card. I need to refresh the bracket. There's Kirchmar in the 4, and I believe he's got Richardson, right? Richardson advanced. There we go. Yep. Big Boris Kirchmar.
Again, a man who is within, 750 pounds of the cutoff for losing his tour card. So, but you would think that if Boris picks this up today, that's him guaranteed. He's got that tour card extended. But if he doesn't, then not only are there still a considerable amount of people in this event that can reach him, but he's also got to bear in mind that there are players like Thibaut Tricol, Jeffrey de Graaf, Don Taylor, they're first-year tour card holders, are they? Sorry, Nick Kenny, Robert Owen, players who are in the World Championships. They've qualified, but they sit behind him in that order of merit and could nick his tour card spot. And we are now underway in the top 32. And with the greatest of respect to Jeffrey Deswan and Ronnie Hybricks, I think that we might just be better placed using that Mervyn King. I know we've already had Danny Lauby as a feature game. We try and mix it up. And it's not the Northern, right? I'm sat in a Mervyn King.
I was going to say, people, the man is sitting in a Mervyn King, not an autographed Mervyn King, mind you, just a Mervyn King shirt. But he's in a Mervyn King, so you have to go to the Mervyn King game.
Quite right. And I'll tell you what a start from Big Merv as he goes ton, 1-7-1, and he's 1-3-1 after that. It looks like he's missed the bull as well for that 1-3-1. What a start from Merv. As Lucas Venig goes 2-0 up on Brett Claydon. Daniel Closer is just one leg away, 5-2 up on Owen Roloff. And Graham Hall, I know there was some Graham Hall support in the chat room as well. He's got a break up on Keegan Brown. He's 4-2 ahead. Mervyn King starting to mess around a little bit. He's bust that after a superb leg. Might have just held the door ajar for Danny Lauby to nick this opening leg here.
Good reminder from Sam that the tour card race essentially, right, goes down to 65 as Beaton is going to turn his card back in. Does that play out correctly?
Beaton sits in number 65. Yeah, 85 grand he's on, which should be safe without any real problem at all. So yeah, Beaton handing his card in with a year left on it does make it slightly easier for people. One extra opportunity. I know there'll be a lot of eyes on Simon Whitlock. Obviously, Simon Whitlock is I'm not saying a bit of a, he is a legend of darts, not just for what he's done, but he's a sort of, among the darts circles, he's about as well-known a player as there is. He's one of the few that transcend. People recognise him because of his distinctive look. Yeah. People recognise him as that bloke who plays darts off the TV.
Even I know on this side of the pond, I know he plays everything, right? Like he'll be at the local and he'll be at this tournament, and he hasn't lost that darts is in his bones thing that we all have, that we want to play in every competition we can get. So Simon Whitlock will pop up just about every year. He makes a pilgrimage every year in January to the Las Vegas Open, and people expect to meet him and see him play in January in Vegas. So yeah, he is an ever-present part of the dart community.
He is, and if this is, and again, we've talked about the careers of some of these guys, and Simon Whitlock has, in terms of the actual times he's picked up a trophy. We've seen a few quarterfinals, a few finals from him. We saw a Grand Prix final in 2017, a few others, but he's lifted 2 trophies. He's had a World Cup win with Damon Heta, and he's had that European Championship win in 2012. Is it a career that we think, if he does lose this card and falls onto the exhibition circuit or the seniors, should he have won more? Should he have lifted more trophies, do you think?
I think yes. I think if the true answer to that is yes, was his career a success? I would also answer yes. I think large part of what the analysis on Simon Whitlock will be the impact that he had on his nation. It maybe if he was a Brit, you might say, a little disappointing, but I think for what he did for Australia to bring the game ahead, make a difference, paving the way for Andersons and Hedas and the like. I think that impact cannot be overstated.
I fully agree. And there's a lot of semi-finals, there's a lot of quarterfinals. There's some finals. There's the world's final in 2010. The Premier League final he made as well. He's had an incredible career. I just don't know whether I think. Well, I feel like he should have lifted more trophies to be as good as he was for that long.
Certainly. And those things change with time. When a player just retires, it's you are a little firmer, and there should have been a few more wins on his side of the column. And then as time goes on, you get a little more perspective on it. But I certainly agree. There should have been a few more trophies raised in the Simon Whitlock camp.
Yeah, interesting question from Tam. And do I think he'll go to Q school if he loses his card, or will he go to the seniors? I think in that question there, Tam, I think that the key in answering it is it's not just going to the seniors. There is so much darts that isn't PDC. There's so many things to play in. And as a bloke that likes to play an awful lot of darts in an awful lot of places, I think Simon Whitlock, more than probably anybody else, will take advantage of, yes, he will be able to play the seniors events, and he's good. And if he does them, he's going to be on telly. Mm-hmm. But there's so much other darts around the world as well that like I've said for a while, that what I think the best thing that could happen to darts, certainly in the oceanic region, is for the PDC to take a retired Simon Whitlock, or a Simon Whitlock without a tour card, and just pay him to go and spend 2 years as an ambassador in the oceanic regions, helping develop their tours, because they've got, it's not going brilliantly the way that darts is being divided up, and the way that people are sort of empire building a little bit over there. And sometimes you need a spearhead. My word, Mervyn King, 1, 2, 3 for a 3-0 lead, and the King is going about his business very successfully. Yeah, like you said, Tam, the Super Series, the WDF, there's a lot of things that Simon Whitlock could play in if he didn't have his tour card. I also think that his son will probably be going to Q school. I don't think he.
2 quick updates from the floor. Klaas up 5-4 and Hall up 5-4 as they race to 6. So if they can hold on, they'll advance into the last 32. Now, you just touched on something. I was convinced that he wouldn't go to Q school until that last part. Because I agree, and you boys talk about it all the time, and rightly so. There's not a better there hasn't been a better time in history to not have a tour card, or I should say, if you find yourself on the outside without a tour card, the opportunities are amazing with with Modus, and if you're of age, the Super Series. I love that idea, by the way, Dan, about going through the Oceanic region. I think that's brilliant. I think Simon certainly fits that profile of being an ambassador, of attending events, putting on clinics, doing media interviews, all of that sort of thing. I think he would be a major asset. But just with that last part about his son, I thought for a second, well, maybe he'll take a back seat and you'll watch his son develop, maybe travel with them, that sort of thing. But then now you look at LeBron James, who, hung on to the point of just wanting to enter the court with his son and have it, in the record book. So I wonder the same thing. Would Simon want to, walk into the Pro Tour as a card holder alongside his son? Those are things that are, goodness gracious, how difficult to achieve. So, would he want to consider trying that?
Yeah, and I think if Mason had come through Q School last year and had a card this, now with another year left on it, I think Simon would be doing absolutely everything possible to make sure he could spend that time on the tour with. I don't think he'd be confident in coming through Q School. I think the level we're going to see this year is going to be, I think it's going to exceed anything we've seen before. I think it's going to be on another scale altogether.
King picks up another leg, marching right through my man Danny Lauby. I again, as we continue this conversation about legacy and career, it's now, of course, it's short term and it'll be forgotten quickly. But is there something to the idea of, you don't want to go to Q School coming off being a long standing card holder and in a way get embarrassed? Is it better to keep things socked away as opposed to, not even getting out of the first? Oh, well, I guess as a card holder, he would get into phase 2, but still you get the point of not looking good, not playing well. And
I still don't think that puts you in much of an advantage. I think what that allows is, I think it allows you to come in cold against players that have been bashing people up for 2 days. And I think sometimes it's not the best way to go through. Obviously, you minimise the chances of banana skins, but Graham Hall, 6-4 victory over Keegan Brown. So Keegan Brown, a player that we won't be seeing at Ali Pally. Again, I know there was a couple in the chat room looking out for Graham Hall. Danny Lauby is going to have to get his foot down very quickly. We've got a noble leg in the game between Daniel Closer and Owen Roloff. That has gone to a decider. And Adam Hunt takes a break of throat against Adam Gavlas in that other top 32 game. He's now gone 3-0 up, Adam Hunt, averaging 112, just shy of 113. What a performance that is.
Yeah, we've got the bottom of the bracket is moving along quickly, so we should have somebody coming out. King and Lauby will play the winner of Rodriguez and Bates.
These are tough games.
Jamie Hughes, Van Peer is going to be a good one.
Yeah, I think my decision to whip out Deswan and Hybrecht as the feature game very early has proven to be a wise one, as we see averages of 69 and 77 in that one. That's been a good decision. Mervyn King 5-0 up. And is it going to be too little too late with that 1-2-1 from Danny Lauby?
Now, don't want to circumvent Dan. He's in the lead here today, but let's hear from the chat. We do have Simon Whitlock underway. Do we stick with a 5-0 King? See him if he can close it out, or do we head over to Whitlock, who's down 2-1?
I think let's see this one out. Let's see Mervyn King one away. Let's see.
He's in a Mervyn King shirt, everybody. You got to stick with King.
So we're going to see Mervyn King's also playing some lovely darts.
I need to look around to see if I've got a Lauby shirt. No, Danny, I don't have a Lauby shirt. You need to rectify that. Oh, a 180 from DL2.
Huge. What a leg this is. What a leg of that. But is it quick? It could just be too little, too late for Daniel Labby. Daniel Labby, again, he's on throw here. So Mervyn King is going to get multiple opportunities to serve this game out. Simon Whitlock levels up 2-2. It's a Desmond on board number 4.
So Keegan Brown. Was Keegan Brown looking to retain a card? I know we've got light green, dark green here.
Yeah, and I tell you what, someone just pointed out in the chat room as well. Adam Gavlas was 3-0 down to Adam Hunt at the minute, but Adam Gavlas is one of those people who is essentially playing for his tour card today. He sits at number 72 on that tour card race, outside of the 65 that he's going to need to make. So Adam Gavlas, if he loses this here, that is him back at Q School. And we've seen some, whilst we've seen inconsistencies, we've seen moments of absolute brilliance from Adam Gavlas. He's been really strong, but just not often enough. If Danny Labby can find 2 trebles here, then it's not quite enough, you think. I think Mervyn King still got the advantage in this leg. Jonathan, there are 4 spaces up for grabs today. So what these guys are playing for really is a spot in the semi-finals. If they make a semi-final, they have achieved what they needed to. Another big visit from Mervyn King. Important visit, that important time. Jitsi van der Waal, 5-all with Josh Payne. We've got another noble leg. We've got a few games now that are they're just digging at each other and edging each other out, but they're pushing all the way. Another deciding leg in that game.
Clayton Venig, 4-4. And Lennon Dracht just underway.
And I don't think we've got too many more, have we, in that top round of 64. Andy Barton's in yellow class, and they're about to get underway as well. But I don't think there are too many more of those first round games to get through.
No, I'm in the bracket right now, scrolling down. You've got is Radek Sagansky underway? That's one that's still that's waiting on the winner of the Zwan and Hybrix.
Yes, it is.
And then I think that's it, right?
I think that's about it. And then
like you said, Klaas and Beaton's, that Barton's, right? That is going to be good.
That could be a soup. That could be in terms of level and standard. That could be the best game we see all day.
You're correct, and as you said, the matchup. I said, my goodness, I didn't see that. That sort of snuck in there, and it's kind of in that pocket of like the last 64 match that's going to be played. And I think that it will probably, in terms of our entertainment value, will be all on Klaassen. I think Andy's going to come with a solid game, and it'll be what kind of game Yella brings.
Yeah, Andy Barton's for a long time, and it's a conversation that we have on this channel an awful lot, where we talk about the best player in the world without a tour card. And for a long time, Andy Barton's name used to circulate in that conversation a lot. He won the WDF World Championships. He was number 1 in the WDF rankings, the men's rankings for quite some time. He has generally been impressive when we've seen him play darts of any sort. But then he did. I think right at the moment that everybody thought he would kick on. He got his tour card this year, and he won his tour card outright at Q School. He didn't win it in the league. He won a day, and then he got the card. I think a lot of people expected him to really kick on, and it hasn't quite happened just yet, has it?
No, but we've seen players. It does. You get into that big pond, and it takes a while to get your feet under you, to get the results, to really experience that, and then it's all forgotten. That first year of the learning process, even regardless of your skill level, there's still a learning process. Zwan up 5-4 ahead of Hybrex.
We said Danny Lauby needed 6 on the spin. He's just done 3. Not just yet. Too early.
We'll just let him go about his business.
Honestly, I get it because I root for the lads. Everyone on this channel has they've seen me watch Dobie games and Ryan Joyce games and back when he was playing Duzza, and I would watch Duzza's matches with I would have signed shirts all along the walls behind me. I'd hang them up especially to watch him on a stream. Mrs. S used to go mad, but I can only imagine how tough it is there, for you watching the North Americans today. Because I know how much you invest and care. You invest time and effort and energy, and how much you care about the development of the game over there. So.
And just like everyone who has their favorites, or like you said, them from a region, we all know how much time these players put in. We know them personally, and we know how much time that they invest, and how much they really commit. So you want to see them do well. And we had a question about the, online darts had, passed on the news that Barry Hearn had let out in an interview this past week that the World Championships are headed to an expansion to 128. So from a North American perspective, that's exciting. We would hope to, acquire a few more opportunities in that field. Let's see if Mervyn King can put away, and he does. First dart into double 10, and Mervyn King puts a dagger in the hearts of the North American fan base.
We'll now go, because I know it's a popular one in the chat room. We'll go and have a look at Simon Whitlock.
Down early. He was down 2-1 early, so Whitlock finding his feet. Moves his average up, with just breaking 90 for both players.
Simon's really lifted his game. He started slow in this game, but Simon is a player that could. Let's be honest, he could play his way into this today. And he's got far more experience than anyone else. Not so much not I'm saying it coming through Worlds qualifiers, because he doesn't. He generally always got himself there already. Yeah. But just in winning matches when it's important to. And these games, they're not streamed, they're not on the telly, there isn't a crowd. It's just standing at a dartboard and winning a darts match. And he's got a hell of a lot of experience in doing that. So Simon, I don't think he's, there's a lot of people counting him out, and I don't think he's quite there yet. Adam Hunt now, 5-1. He keeps the dream alive for more Northeast representation at the Palace this year. Yannick Klaassen, Andy Barton's not off to the electric start. That I think we've doomed that game, Anthony. We'll have to take some responsibility for.
No. We take zero responsibility. No. We will set them up, and if the players don't come through, that's on them, not us.
Yeah, we've got some big names now warming up, ready to play those round of 32 games. As Jose de Souza now, there is a man. Who, if you had have told me 3 years ago, I went down that after the lockdown, when COVID shut everything, there was no darts. The first night back at the Premier League, was played in front of just 1,000 people in Milton Keynes, and I went down for that and watched Jose de Souza take out 120 with 3 tops, and he looked like a man who could make his darts do absolutely anything at all. He just looked like he could do whatever he wanted with darts. And he won the Grand Slam that year. And he looked like he was going to really establish himself. I was convinced he was going to establish himself as a top 10 player. And he was just going to be a top 10 dart player for the next 5, 6, 7 years. But he's played absolute bobbins for the last 2 years. I haven't got a better way to put it.
Well, Yeah, I think that uncertainty that also makes him exciting to watch. You don't know exactly what he's going to do. That sort of permeates everything he does. There's everything has some uncertainty with him. His mindset, his his level of play, and it's just someone that you don't know what to expect when De Sousa steps to the line.
He played 1 year of the Premier League and got to the final. And then you look at you go to look at his record and you think, well, how far has he gone in these tournaments? And, you can see that early there he was making some quarterfinals, making some finals, and then you look at the last couple of years and you think, oh, there isn't a record of them because he hasn't qualified for anything. He's not, those things where we were thinking, God, this guy's going to be consistent. He's going to be making quarterfinals on the regular. He's not even gone. Like he hasn't gone to play the Grand Prix, the European Championship. He hasn't played anything.
At one point firmly in the conversation and then not even spoken about.
Paul Kroner finding a superb leg of darts here. It's a race to the finish line. 4-all they are in this race to 6, and Paul Kroner is going to get multiple opportunities to go within one leg. Simon can't put any pressure on at all.
So reaffirm some comments in the chat. We are playing down to 4, and those 4 players advance to the World Championship. So essentially, yes, if you go to Dark Connect and you want to pull up the bracket, in a way, it's 4 mini tournaments, if you will. They're all they're playing against the opponents that were drawn in their section, and once you get out of that quad, you're in the World Championship.
Yeah, and for some, they'll still have a tour card. They will be back on the tour, even if they get to the Palace and they get spanked in the first round and sent packing. They will still be PDC tour card holders, and one of those players, Simon Whitlock, finds a big 180 maximum visit there. Roby John Rodriguez takes the opening leg against Owen Bates. That's a game. 2 exciting young players would be. It is a shame that game's not getting streamed, because that would probably be, if I was going to watch a game, I bet that is a lovely watch.
Martin Dracht up 5-1 on Steve Lennon.
Steve Lennon, another player that he threatens, and he has played probably a bit better this year than he did last year, but he does threaten stuff. We've seen him go on runs and we've seen the level he can produce, but struggles to find that consistency. Janne Klaassen goes 3-2 up on Andy Bartons in a game that looks like poor, to say the least.
And you just touched on it, Dan. It really is the word of this sport is consistency. It's all of these players can play at a certain level and can perform in spurts and flares. It's the ability to be consistent, to string those performances and 12 darters together, and at the level that the fields are. It's that little bit of inconsistency is what puts you into majors, what puts you into qualifiers, and not having to go through this process. It's just the difference between these players is so minute.
It certainly is. They can all produce it on any given day. Some of these players, folks, are now very, very close. The players that have just won in their top 32, they're 2 games away. So Adam Hunt and Mervyn King, they're in different sides of the brawl. So we could see both of them. Imagine that for me. If I sit in a Mervyn King shirt and he qualifies, and a Geordie gets in, I don't think there could be a better result for me today. I think that would be absolutely perfect. It could happen. Simon Whitlock finds a break of throw. He forces that noble leg. It's going to be a decider. That is a big visit from Paul Kroner, though, as he backs the ton up with a 1-3-4. Whitlock with a treble-less visit in his opening one needs a big score here. And he is a sort of man that can deliver it. You feel that ton not enough at this stage.
Oh, 140. Puts a mountain of pressure on Whitlock. Must return in kind, if not filling it all up.
That's not enough.
So
Going to be
Corona
relying
will have, he'll have 6 at this 127 to dispatch Simon Whitlock.
Whitlock's going to be relying on missed doubles, isn't he?
Yes.
The only way he's going to get there from here. This needs to be big. Again, it's got to be a max. It's got to be a 140 minimum.
It has to be. No.
You know what he's going to do with this.
Yes, exactly. As soon as the 150 came up, it's Simon Whitlock. It's what we all thought. So 72, in all fairness. Okay.
He's going to go at it. Do you know what's the worst thing about it? Because we can't see a stream, we won't know. We won't know if he's doing that. We don't know which way he's gone. Go on, Simon. Let's give us 3 balls, and no one will ever see it. Pressure, though. Pressure.
Especially if the first dart doesn't go in. But the first dart does go in.
There you go. Paul Corona dispatches Simon Whitlock, and that leaves Simon Whitlock on an absolute knife edge. He's in position number 64. We think that when things become official, 65 will be the spot you will need to be in. But there are some players beneath him who are still in this tournament and in with a chance of putting $7.5 grand on their earnings, and players beneath him who are in the World Championship. So Simon Whitlock now has a waiting game to play that could take 6 weeks to wait and see whether or not he will be still be a tour card holder next year. I think we'll go with Lee Evans and Aaron Monk now, because I know we've got some Aaron Monk interest in the chat.
And Lee Evans is perfect for the conversation you just laid out. Evans is that player right behind Whitlock, those players to keep an eye on. Evans and Slevin and Hughes are the 3 players right behind Whitlock. All 3 behind him, but all 3 still not yet in the World Championship. So it'll be that combination of being in a good position, but also can they put World Championship money in the bank?
Yeah, an interesting side, sort of slightly side conversation as well, and in terms of qualifying for the Worlds and Tour cards and things, is obviously things are slightly different for Connor Scott if he qualifies for a tour card by finding himself in that top 64 of the tour card race, because we know he's got a tour card regardless from his challenge tour. But if he also wins a tour card on 2 fronts, if you will, by getting into the top 64 and retains that money, then that could be a huge step in the right direction to him, like a really big advantage. But he sits in number 63, just ahead of Simon Whitlock. Whitlock was a threat to Connor Scott today, and Connor Scott finishing in that top 64. So that is another little twist, a little side quest that's going on today. There's a lot of different things all woven together this time of year in darts.
Yeah, better for Whitlock if he came through the challenge. And I think there was a question earlier asking about the challenge. I think essentially it was to the degree of should the opportunities be expanded for the challenge tour. And I think they're probably right where they need to be. I think it's 4 coming out of the challenge, I believe, right, Dan? If you know that off the top of your head.
I'd have to start typing it to be. It's one of them things.
Let's just pretend like we know it for a fact.
I'm about 80. I'm about 95%. I'm nervous about fully committing.
So the point of the question was should that be drawn down, and I think that's probably the right place to be. I think if you go too deep, there are years obviously that the field is a little bit deeper and thicker, and there's some players that are deserving, but from a year in, year out basis, it's probably about right. Now, obviously, we touched on World Championships being expanded by 32 players, so there's a lot of directions where that can go, and that could be one of them.
I think if we were to look at where those, if I was to bring more people in, it wouldn't be through the challenge tour. I don't think I would. I know what your view, but I would use these developing.
I'll take 16 spots, Dan. Thank you very much.
Yeah, from the CD. I take the top 16 from the CDC. No, I do think, with the affiliated tours are becoming stronger and stronger. We know where the CDC's at. With the Asian tour is increasing, and we were lucky enough to spend some time Monday night with Russ Bray, who's very, very knowledgeable.
Oh, wonderful interview, folks. If you have not seen that, Russ Bray, what a wonderful piece the boys did with Russ.
Yeah, it was thoroughly interesting. I'll give him a little plug while I'm on, because it's still sat around here. But the All About Darts book is worth the read. I got it from Waterstones.
It's going to be under my Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's a really nice read. I've had a chance to read it now. I hadn't read a lot of it when I spoke to Russ, but Russ is really knowledgeable about the Asian tour, and I think if we can get someone to strap a rocket to oceanic regions and get that pulled up a little bit as well, I think if I was to look at where I'd expand and get new players onto the tour and into events on TV, majors, if you will. That's where I think I would be looking, would be those affiliated tours. Lorenzo mentioned in the chat room, when is the draw for the World Championships? The draw, Lorenzo, and I want to make a wild assumption based on your name that you're here supporting Michele Torretta. But the draw will be at 4:30 UK time, 4:30 GMT. We'll be live. I don't think I sort of left it a bit open as to whether or not I'd go straight through, because this is a bit unpredictable in terms of how long this is going to last. I'm now starting to think that I'll get a bit of a break in between. So we're going to stream this. Once this has all come to an end, we'll be back on for the draw live. I don't know who'll be on with me, but it could just be me.
I was just going to say, who's on? Anyone know who's on with Dan?
At some point, I'll show something in the WhatsApp group. And
I'm available. I can sit. You let me know. I was curious. I was asking Phil the same thing. I said I didn't know how tight that they were going to be. I mean, I've done those. I've been privy to do those things, so I know you do need a little prep time. But I wasn't sure if we were going to still be on and they would get to it, but it certainly feels like they would at least take, an hour between the completion of this qualifier and that. So as Dan said, keep tabs on Online Darts YouTube page, and Dan will be back in some form or fashion to get you through the draw.
And then let's not forget, folks, as well, that 8 o'clock UK time, we've got this week's live lounge as well, because we've got the Players' Championship finals to talk about. We're talking about how my voice is going to be knackered. It's a good job I've stocked up on the Pellegrino, because I'm going to
it's a little too early for Dan to break out the predicting wine.
I'm not sponsored by anyone, but we're always on. The Dan Pellegrino's always in there, but then I've gone as well.
It's one of my favorites, Dan. I say we go for the sponsorship.
I've gone with a coconut water and a Starbucks triple shot. That's what I've got lined up this afternoon.
I've got one more sip of coffee, and it's time to go hit the Keurig.
That's the way to do it. Right, let's have a little look. So Lee Evans goes 3-1 up there, taking out 46 against Aaron Monk. Barry Van Peer just keeps that break advantage over Jamie Hughes. Jamie Hughes is another one of those players in the chasing pack, where this is a really, really important day for him to try and keep hold of his tour card. It's not going to plan at the moment. Graham Usher 2-1 on Mike Carvin Hovan, and much to the fury, as I'm convinced, of everyone on Planet Darts, Darren Beveridge is 2-1 up over Steve Beaton. How dare you, Darren Beveridge?
How dare you, sir? How dare you? We'll have to have a talking with you if you knock out Steve Beaton.
Neil Snowdell became a very unpopular man a few weeks ago, and Darren Beveridge, you don't want to take that position.
The last of the top 64 matches being played. Urin van der Velde up 5-1 on Radek Zagansky, and Klaassen Bartens tied at 5 apiece. Not the quality we thought out of that match, but some drama nonetheless, and Bartens gets it 6-5.
Yeah, that's it. I think it wasn't what I expected, but I did expect it to be tight and entertaining.
Yes, yeah, a contest. So let's refresh the bracket, and if you'll allow me, let's walk everyone through the bracket from top to bottom at the last 32 stage. You've got the Sousa versus Reese. It's Reese Griffin, right?
Yes, that's it.
Okay, because okay, I don't know if it's Dark Connect or if it's the way the players put it in, but some of the names are, first and last and first. Coretta playing Venig. We see Hunt getting past Gaulis, so he's through to the 16. Evans and Monk, Kritchmar Richardson. And then we've got one part of the bracket still to have players come into the 32. So Deswan is through, and we're waiting on the winner of Vanderveld. Did my bracket not update quick enough?
The brackets
fresh.
The brackets are the brackets are taking now. They are playing through boards, so you can sort of work out board 1 and board 2, etc. But the brackets themselves are taking a little bit of time to update themselves as Barry Van Peer goes 1 away from ending Jamie Hughes' quest to get to the Palace, and Darren Beveridge is now break up. He's 3-1 ahead of Steve Beaton. Jose de Souza and Reece Griffin is 3-all. And that is proving to be a tight game. That one that I thought was very watchable between Roby John Rodriguez and Owen Bates has gone 4 each. So they are just matching each other in that one. And we're soon to get to a point where, because we're playing to these semi-finals, we're going to know little clutches of players, little names, groups of 3 or 4 players where we know one of them's going to go. So we'll get, as that starts to narrow down in each section, we'll be able to say, well, there's one of those 4 is definitely going to the Palace, and some of those groups of names are going to get quite interesting, I think.
So I'm really looking forward to here in the live lounge tonight as you break down the players championship finals. What a really interesting weekend. Humphreys retains his title, and we get a Luke versus Luke. We started the calendar year at Luke versus Luke. We essentially finished the calendar year. It'll be the last final to be played in 2024. Luke versus Luke. Good performances out of Scott Williams this past weekend, and
it reminded me. Because I forget sometimes that the outrageous run that he had to the semi-finals of the World Championship. I'm lucky enough. I have a dartboard just up there. I'm going to turn the screen. There's a dartboard there, and that's a semi-final board from last year's semi-finals, and it's signed. Wow. So it's got Littler and Humphreys and Cross and Scott Williams, and I have people around who are maybe casual darts fans, and I explain to them that, and they say Scott Williams. I go, yeah, like he's brilliant, like next big thing. And I think that there was a potential breakout there, and we've been lucky enough to have Scott on. Scott's been a guest on the live lounge. We've had some good chats with him, but his game is so good. His game's so good when he's at it.
Yeah, and he's fun. He's fun to watch. The persona brings it. It's good entertainment.
Oh, 100%.
When Scott Williams is in the mix.
Let's be honest. Darts needs characters. The more that darts, and especially now more than ever, as it develops in this world of social media and TikTok and all this other shite that I can't get away with, but like you need people who are watchable.
Yes.
It's not just about throwing good darts, because let's be honest, there's loads of them can throw good darts, but you wouldn't go and buy a ticket to watch some of it because it's they're just.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's the process, the learning process we hear in North America. That what you've got to get to a place where it's not just the ability to put a dart in a dartboard. It's like you said, what moves the needle to get the consumer to say, I will plunk down my hard-earned money to come out for an evening to watch you play.
And people have to bear this in mind. I know there's been an awful lot this week talk about the World Seniors. What people just need to keep in mind a lot of the time is if people won't buy tickets to come and watch your product, you ain't got a prize fund. No one will sponsor it. You haven't got money to pay your players. Therefore, the opportunity in and of itself doesn't exist. It's not there. You have to provide a commercial. Yes, it's a sport, and we all know it's a sport. We love it as a sport. Winning opens with a 9. We're gonna have to divert as Lucas Venig opens against Michele Torretta with a 9. start leg. So we see that very, very rare thing on the right-hand side of the screen at the top, which is a 167 average. You won't see that very often. It's very rare you see a 167 average.
Stop that and put that on the wall.
Absolutely. Roby John Rodriguez comes to a noble leg. That deciding game. We will not see the master at the Palace. Owen Bates crashes out. Roby John Rodriguez moves on. We have got a little bit of a fight back on our hands here. Aaron Monk's won a few on the spin and lifted his game to get this game tied up at 3-all. If Lee Evans takes that 56, that game remains on throw, so Monk will need a break of throw in that one. Lucas Vennick backs up. Good God, he's backed up the 9-darter. He's now averaging 125. You know, he's casual. 2-0.
It just occurred to me. Let's have some fun since he's not here. Let's beat up on the famous Phil Bars for a bit. We need to take him to task. We have the Barney alarm, we have the nuke siren, and now we've got the Anderson train. How could we have no fireworks graphic for 9-darter? We need
the famous Mr. Phil Bars.
There we go. Yeah, we do. So, without preempting things too much, enjoy that one.
You caught me so by surprise. My mind is flashing through like, oh goodness, is that an ad or is it like did my computer go down? I'm like, what happened? Then
Ms. Hedman just popping in for a quick visit.
Dina Hedman, everybody.
Yes, thank you, Dita, for that for popping that in. So I tell you what. So we've got lots planned, and I'm really excited about it. We are, and I'm going to say it again. We are on the bloody cusp of 40,000 subscribers.
Not just the cusp, the bloody cusp.
We are right there, and we've got some big things planned. We've got a lot of work to do over the next few weeks. The boys and I. We've got a really good relationship with Paddy Power, who sort of renewed that relationship into the World Championships this year. So we are able to do a little bit more in terms of content and streaming and maybe having some extra hands on the pumps in the back end of these systems. Because a lot, like for those of you, I don't want to peel back the curtain too much, but the reason why sometimes what's on the screen today during this stream looks a bit like amateur hour is because it's me. Me clicking buttons, trying to drag and drop things across a screen.
He's got this knucklehead with him.
I am not that way. But we've got some members of the team that with far better skills than I at that sort of thing, and we're going to try and take advantage of that. So we are hoping for some 9-dart graphics and some other bits and pieces.
The Salsa, the event's 1 seed on the verge of being eliminated. Griffin on 81 after 9 darts, 100, 140, 180. Let's see that. Leaves 24, but he'll be back. The Salsa on 266. I'll keep that tab open.
Yeah, Aaron Monk. Oh, Aaron Monk, that could be a huge miss. He misses 3 darts to get rid of 40. But with Lee Evans waiting on double 16, and this would be a break, and he does it first dart in hand in the double 16. That's a break of throw. Lee Evans now just 1 away, but he will be on throw as Jose de Souza is out.
Second dart for the Welshman, and dispatches Jose de Souza.
And I'll tell you what's on as well. The comeback is on because Steve Beaton now finds himself fighting back.
It's the second tab that I had open. Yep. Well, Beveridge opens up with a 180, though, in like 10. So I'll walk you through that one.
Come on, Steve.
Beveridge follows that with a 140. So Beaton ton leads into a 119. Oh, a 140. Both players on their game. So Beveridge on 41 after 9 with the throw in leg 10. Beaton just follows that up with a 59. So Beaton back on 223. Beveridge looking to tie things up, needs 41. and he takes it in 2 darts. So we're going to distance. Beaton versus Beveridge.
This is going to be a tough watch for many.
Beaton stumbles out of the blocks with a 59 to open. So Beveridge. And he follows up the 11 darter with a 180 in the deciding leg.
And if you are going to hit a max, that is the exact moment in the match to do it against the darts when your opponent doesn't find a treble. That's a brutal 180 from Darren Beveridge, and he backs it up with a ton. Lee Evans gets the job done. Those big misses cost Aaron Monk on the doubles there, and then I think we should probably really quickly just put on the screen the conclusion of this match. I think everybody's interested in it. Steve Beaton 202 after 9. Darren Beveridge. Oh, that's a slack visit from Steve. Leaves the 160.
Yeah, 2 slack visits open up some space for Beveridge, and he walks right through it. A 132 to set up.
Oh, that's massive. 3 match darts incoming for Darren Beveridge. He only needs 1. Darren Beveridge.
We let that sit and breathe for a moment.
Yeah, it just needs to sink in for a minute, doesn't it? That. Oh wow.
That's the last professional match for Steve Beaton. That didn't really hit me until I said that.
That's a deep shame. It was bloody close as well. He was almost like 1 treble away, just from just being able to get there first down to something. Yeah, what a real shame.
You cannot say enough about
Beaton.
Steve. Dan, you're correct. Cheers to Steve Beaton.
Teresa's incoming petition for Beveridge to have his card removed, please.
I think we'd get it an immediate couple of 100 signatures.
Yeah. If I was him, I would nip outside. I think quick. There might be a few. You might want to go and hide in the car, sit in the car for a bit. I think there'll be a few people in that building that won't want to be best mates with him at the minute.
Head to the toilet and hide in the stall.
Go and lock himself in the disabled loo for a bit. Graham Usher 6-4 victory in this round of 32 against Mike Kyvenhoven. Graham Usher gets himself through to the last 16. But don't forget, folks, it's not about getting from 16 to 1 today. It's about getting from 16 to 4. So if you're in the last 16, you are just 2 games away. We have
every professional sportsman has the right and the privilege to determine how they see fit to hang it up, right? Beaton has made the decision that he's going to step away, even though he's got another year on his card. Other players in professional sport, are given the dispatch out the door, even though they're not ready. And some players, I was always impressed with the way Dennis Priestley played it. He was ready to retire. He said, "I'm not going to go out and play any more Pro Tour events, but as things cite, I'm still going to take those opportunities that are, when I get the invite, I'll go and play, but I'll just let myself organically fall out of the rankings." So it's interesting to watch players how they plan their exit out the door. Sometimes it's expected, and sometimes it's abrupt.
I think the same of the way I would describe it. I would describe it exactly the same as I said for A.D. Lewis and for Glenn Durran. He's earned the right to do what he wants.
Correct.
Like he's given so much to the game. He has earned the right to do whatever he wants. And if he wants to grind it out for a few years on tour because he enjoys it, great. If he wants to put his feet up and never throw a dart again, fine. Like he's
Fine
not.
as well.
There's so many people I think that sometimes that they often feel like dart players are sort of they're there for them. Like and the amount of stuff I've heard this year on Eddie Lewis, people saying, "Well, it's I want to see Eddie Lewis." Well, tough, he might not want to play. Like he's saying. And I think the players like that, like like Glenn, like Eddie, like Steve Beaton, they've given us all so much,
and they've earned
the right to do whatever the hell they want. And
they've earned, yeah, absolutely, they've earned that right. And throughout all different levels of sport, and I'm sure in Europe you've seen this as well. But I know in American sport there have been different decisions made. You've got players that will retire. Barry Sanders, Jim Brown come to mind at early ages. They feel they've accomplished what they've wanted to accomplish, and like you said, earn the right. And then you get other players who feel that this is a sort of God-given, talent and something that age will take away. So once you give it up, there's no going back. So there are some players who choose to squeeze out as much as they possibly can in their careers, and will get to the point where it's obvious that they have nothing left to the tank. And as you said, it's up to each player to earn that right and make 100%. Those decisions. And Matty Campbell having a good
I snuck that on the feature game, and he's not just winning, he's winning well. He's playing some lovely stuff as well. And Matt Campbell really put himself in with a strong chance as well. But Boris Kirchmeier goes one away, he's 5-1 up, and Lucas Venning still averaging just shy of 103, 5-2 up on Michele Torretta. I know there's a lot in the chat room wanting him to do well. Matt Campbell then extending that lead. He's 5-1. That was another break of throw, so he's going to get a few opportunities to serve it out. I think as well, those people, when people talk about players retiring and what they are, like, they also need to sometimes just look in the mirror, because like I'm somebody with 3 kids, a really expensive mortgage, and a really high, stressful job. If someone said to me, "Oh, Dan, you can retire early from this, you've got all the money that you need to retire," I'd say, I'd shake their hand and I'd be off. I'd be in the car before they'd finish their sentence. Someone said, "Danny, you can get, if you've got enough money in your pension now, you don't have to come here every day." Thanks. I'd be out the door.
It'd be a cartoon cutout on the wall of Dan breaking through the wall. Pew!
I wouldn't be thinking, I might probably grind a couple of more years out of this because other people like to watch me do it. Sally down at the bus station likes to see me every day. I have a responsibility to show up. Absolutely bloody not. Right. We are getting busy in the chat, and we've got, the numbers are great. We've got loads of people getting involved. Please do make sure, if you are watching along, that first of all, you click the like button, do us that favor at least. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, even if it is just because to keep you with us on a busy day today. So when we come back on the stream to do the live lounge later, when we come back on the stream to look at the draw, if you subscribe and you get a notification, it's better, isn't it? You won't miss us. So please do make sure that you hit the like buttons and the subscribe buttons and all the other buttons that you need to hit as well.
But if you're here with us today, Dan, and there's no good reason not to be subscribed to the channel. This is the season. If you love this and you've been drawn to us today and you're enjoying things, I mean, as the World Championship gets underway, the previews and the interviews and everything, the analysis that you get at Online Darts is just phenomenal. So it's silly if you're not a subscriber and you get to get involved in the chat room.
And don't forget, there's people like Andrew as well, who's just getting in for the day. You have missed a lot of drama. Andrew's actually not only a subscriber, he's a member as well. So Andrew does benefit from some little extras as he gets some extra content. Every now and again, something arrives in the post.
He gets a hot towel. He's a member. He shows up. He gets pampered. And
he's also, if he's ever in Wolverston Village, if he can come to the Welly, and he gets a pint and a Parmo on me as well. If he's ever up this way, all of our members, that offer is open to come and have a pint with me in the pub on me. Matt Campbell, 1 dart at double top, gets the job done, and we're edging closer to potential. I know you don't like me saying it out loud, Anthony, but we could have that North American representation it could go up from 3 to 4.
3 to 2. Like, what are you doing? If Matt can keep this form and head on in, I mean, we touched on it last year. Matt is I think if he, off the top of my head, if he was able to qualify this year, I think it's six years now that he's qualified. And, for in the framework of what we've had in North America, outside of John Part, of course, for a Canadian player to qualify, for 6 straight years, I think, just 5 in and of itself has been phenomenal. But he's just continuing to put together great resume items, and if he gets that opportunity, then it's time to go to work. It's time for Matt to cash in on those opportunities. But in and of itself, to be a North American player that has, made World Championship appearances now is a big deal.
Certainly is. We're underway. We've now got those top 16 games. So don't forget, these players just 2 wins away, fighting to put themselves in with a straight shootout for a spot at the World Championships. Mervyn King 1-1 with Roby John Rodriguez. As big Boris Kirchmar dispatches Joshua Richardson 6-2, a dominant performance there. And we're seeing a bit more in this round of 32 from Andy Bartons as well, as he goes 3-1 up on Owen Roloff. Dylan Slevin, we've mentioned Dylan quite a few times because of those rankings. He finds himself in spot number 66 on the tour card race. So he is absolutely poised just to pinch someone's tour card off them right at this last moment today. But Dylan Slevin 5-2 up on Jitse van der Waal. Dylan's got a hell of a game in him as well. He could just start to play his way through here and just all of a sudden guarantee that tour card for another year. Anthony, I'm just going to leave you at the helm for a minute or two. I'm just going to go and attend to just a very quick couple of matters. I think probably just break up a fight between my kids, but I'm going to go and separate some people. I'll leave you with it for a minute.
Go get him, Dad. So I'll walk you through a couple of matches. We see Venig having continuing a big day, a 9-darter thrown by Lucas earlier. 96 average. Toretta pulls back 5-4. An all Dutch affair. De Zwaan ahead 4-2. Van der Velde and Dylan Slevin in good form today, ahead 5-2. So we see the Italian presence continuing to grow, and I know that the boys here online have always talked about what the next areas are for either World Series events or European Tour events. I think there probably wouldn't be a lot of pushback if there was an event in Italy. Most players and staff would probably enjoy a nice pasta-filled extended weekend on the European Tour or a great showcase. More likely a European Tour, I'd say, than a World Series event.
Where are we going?
Mervyn King up 2-1, still in real good form. We saw him earlier dispatch Danny Lauby. So, Dan, I was just talking about we got the 2 Italians in the field. Toretta pushing back a little bit on Venig, and that not too many folks would be upset if they had a European Tour. If the next place to sort of break out and expand the horizons on the European Tour would be an event in Italy.
Oh, like Italy, I think a lot know on there. Italy's one of my favorite holiday destinations. I am a regular back and forth to any part of Italy that I can get to. I love it there. And yeah, more darts in Italy would be even better. Some of my favorite cities. I am obsessed with Budapest. I love Budapest. WDF ran their Masters there this year, which is brilliant.
Toretta opens up with a 180 in the deciding leg.
He's backed you up with another one. Has he? No? Yeah, 180. No, he hasn't. He's back up with a 41.
Yep.
180, 41. Still in the driving seat, though. 180.
Yeah, because Venig with an 80 and a 96. So Toretta still with room to improve and increase that lead, but only a 40 in his third turn to the Aki. So Lucas Venig
He looked dead and buried, Michele Toretta, in this game, and he has fought his way back from absolutely nowhere.
Vanek does nothing with the opportunity. A 60 hands it back to Toretta. So 240 puts in 60. Still not on and out, though. So Vanek at 265. Down there working on the 19s, I would imagine. Can he find the one treble? He cannot. So Toretta will have 6. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, he'll have 6 at the 180. See what kind of a bite he can take out of the 180. Only a 44. So, now Vanek, if Vanek puts in 140 maybe, puts loads of pressure on the 136 for Toretta.
Quickly, Martin Dirac goes 4-0 up on Graham Hall, looking very comfortable, Martin, on that one. Andy Barton's extends to 4-1 up, and Mervyn King in a feature game, 3-1 ahead on Arabi John Rodriguez.
Toretta looking at the 136 after Venig's. And he takes it out. And
whoa, what a finish! What?
Toretta advances into the last 16 after opening big, lives through a fight back.
Class. 136 out. He was nowhere. He was absolutely nowhere. Lucas Vanek opened with a 9. Absolutely superb game of darts, that.
Unfortunately, Lucas Vanek goes home with the T-shirt that says, "I came to the qualifier and all I left was with a $9."
Yeah, I think he's probably the only man that can have that T-shirt. They've only printed one of them. They've only printed one of them. Goodness me.
Congratulations. So Toretta moves on. Let's see. Let's look at his part of the bracket.
So those top 16 games underway at the top, don't forget those folks. Those guys are getting ever closer to a spot at the World Championships. Adam Hunt takes the opener against the Evans. We've seen really, really great darts from Adam Hunt today. He's played superbly.
So top of the bracket is moving through. You'll have Griffin versus Toretta in the last 16 at the top of the bracket.
Yeah, it is. Reece Griffin. Because the seed in that group, Jose de Souza, crashed out early in his opening match. So that is that's a seedless section. And therefore, I think very open. Very open.
Excuse me for a moment, Dan. I'll take my chance at some coffee.
You do that, mate. Whatever you need. Oh, is Evans seeded as well, Sam? It's because I'm looking at the bracket and you can't see the seedings on the bracket, so I'm having to go from memory. Of course he is, yeah, Lee Evans is seeded. He comes from the bottom of that bracket, doesn't need to play. Adam Hunt. He's playing Adam Hunt now, in fact. It's 1-all. Mervyn King, he's messed around a little way. He hasn't actually. He started with a couple of that trebleless visit early doors, but now 56. Pop, 2-dart combination, surely for Mervyn King to go 5-1 ahead. And he did 3 darts. He took one more than I thought he would. 5-1 up. That was another break of throw for Mervyn King. So Mervyn King now serving it out. And what look. The Mervyn King, the match-worn Mervyn King, formally signed Mervyn King shirt, thanks to Mrs. S putting it through the washing machine. But it's bringing him some luck today. Mervyn King, 1 away. Now, this is a man who, let's be honest, we've had conversations on the stream about how excited, and maybe we've written him off unfairly, because I've been saying how excited I've been to watch Mervyn King on the seniors next year. I was thinking I've been doing interviews on the seniors, as you all know, and get thinking, I get to interview Merv. That'll be fun. That'll be good. If he gets through 2 more games, I've got bugger all chance of doing that, because he's going to have a 2 card still. Adam Hunt 2-1 up on Lee Evans. That's a nice game warming up as well. Barry Van Peer and Dylan Slevin in that round of 16. Andy Barton's now just one away. But in that bracket, this could be actually going to be a tough one for Andy Barton's, because if he does win that match, let me just find him back. I remember seeing Andy Barton's in the bracket and thinking, oh, that's not straightforward. And it's not, because Andy Barton's, and he does win 6-2 over Owen Roloffs and sets up a match with Matt Campbell. So Matt Campbell against Andy Barton's, that is a very strong pairing. Martin Dracht 6-0 in what I think is that the first bagel we've seen served today? I've missed some bits, so the chat room is probably going to come straight in and correct me. No, is it the first time today we've seen a bit? It is. That's the first bagel of the day. Martin Drax beats Graham Hall 6-0.
Yeah, the bracket itself proper is a step behind. I wonder if it's being manually updated. I think it is.
Yeah, it's not automatically pumping through, so that when we get that,
and that
someone connects having to click things and drag and drop and stuff like that.
And that the behind, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. I mean, that's based on some gaming things and the way sometimes what the PDC does between Sport Radar and Dark Connect.
There we go. Mervyn King gets the job done. 6-1 victory. I know there's a lot of love in the chat room for Mervyn King. A lot of people want to see him back at the Palace this year. Not had things his own way, Merv, this year, but my word, if we could see him there. He is a player, though, on 57.5 grand in the tour card race, where just getting to the Palace wouldn't be enough. You know, whilst he's outside that tour card race at the minute, just getting a spot, that's 7.5 grand first round losers money, is not enough for Mervyn King to keep his tour card. He's got to get there, and then he's got to win some darts matches while he's on.
Yeah. He's got to be there post Christmas.
And that's not easy.
It certainly is not.
Right, where are we going to go?
Oh, we've got some, Kirchmar, Deswan warming up, Campbell, Barton's.
While we're waiting for them to get sacked, I think some of them are very, like Barton's, I know, has just finished. So I think we'll have a little break before that one gets underway. We'll see. I mean, obviously, I'm making excuses, but really, Adam Hunt's a Geordie, so we're sticking with Adam Hunt because he's from the northeast. So that's why.
Truth be told.
Yeah, I'll give you 4 different reasons why that might, but let's be honest, we all know what it is. It's my bias.
Folks, when you control the buttons, you control the day.
I'll be as biased as I want until somebody pays me to not be. Like,
fair play.
Somebody wants to pay me to say something different. Now, I'm happy to be paid to pay some people. I'll say whatever you want for the right price.
I mean, we're not being paid today? My goodness.
Yeah, and which is why therefore I don't have to make any commitment about my competence, do I? I can be as incompetent as they like at this price. Adam Hunt still just keeping his nose in front, but that's a big visit from Lee Evans. Lee Evans on throw in this one, backs up the 137 with a 96. Big Boris and Jeffrey the Swan, that's an interesting game as well. I quite like the look of. There's more and more games that I like the look of. Mervyn King is the first player through to the last 8. So Mervyn King just one game away, and you do get the feeling that we are approaching the business end of today's qualifier now. I think we thought by 2:30, 3 o'clock we'd be right on the cusp of finding out who's going to do what, but just feels like it's getting interesting, doesn't it?
Thanks, everybody in the chat. We appreciate your participation. You really help and make days like this. It's a lot of fun to get in and get your feedback and your questions. If you haven't done so already, like today's particular stream, and of course, subscribe to the channel. That's a no-brainer.
Oh, there we go. That's good. Sam's done a little bit of work for me there. So we got the possible winners of who people that could come through. So coming out of that quarter one, it could be Reece Griffin, Michele Torretta, Adam Hunt, or Lee Evans. They're our possible winners on that one. Q2, we got Boris Kirchmar, Jeffrey the Swan, and then we got Krona Usher.
Now we're ready for the predicting grape juice.
There you go. There we go. The predicting grape juice. We're doing it very clean. It's we're having a sober stream. It's not very often I do a sober stream. It's because I feel like it's weighted. It used to balance out. When I used to get Adam Hunt on your screen there has gone 6 perfect darts in 60 after 9.
So do we want to go through, or do we want to give a tip players in those in each quarter? What do we think, or should we stay impartial?
I think we can. Once we have the quarter lineup, once we have the lineup for the last 8, I think we can pick our.
We'll pick. Okay.
I'm trying to make it easy for myself. 4 from 8. I've got to get at least a couple.
I'll find myself a coin.
I gotta get 4 from 8, haven't I? Some cracking games lined up though. I'm really pleased about it. Yeah, and this is it. It's that Rob, I have doomed some players over these last few years with my predictions. I've watched them. I've watched me pick them just moments before they go to the hockey to then throw some of the worst darts on record. So it's not always a good thing for me to pick a player. Paul Krona goes 4-2 up on Graham Usher as he looks to swell the ranks of German representatives at the World Championships this year.
Yeah, what a success things have been in Germany as they continue to build and grow. Great example and great model for other nations to emulate, building the infrastructure, the participation, and the demand, translates into bigger events, bigger opportunities, more money, and then you see it, as Dan was talking about, more. You see those, the numbers of the players that wind up in these big events in world championships, etc., increase. Right here, Evans looking to tie things up, needs 40.
They're keeping it on throw though. They are just exchanging holds. But if Lee Evans doesn't hit, and he does hit that was really important with Adam Hunt sat on 32, coming back with 3 darts to get rid of that. But Adam Hunt is still in that position of throwing first, where he can just keep holding his throw, and that would be enough to move him through to the last 8 if he could keep that throw, defend that throw. That line up there, I'm not even saying his name. A dart player is playing Martin Dracht. Matt Campbell's playing Andy Bartons. Reece Griffin warming up against Michele Torretta. Boris Kirchmar against Jeffrey the Swan. Matt Campbell and Andy Bartons, and Barry Van Peert against Dylan Slevin. That was the rest of the lineup for this round of 16.
Yeah, that's all right. That's it. We're looking at the rest. This is the field, right? 2, 4, 6, 8 games. 8 games, all top 16. That's your field, right? There's no other games pending.
Plus Mervyn King. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's one more. There's one more game.
One more.
Big move that. Adam Hunt. That's a nice score. Gets himself to 120. Again, Adam Hunt just needs to stay straight and solid on his own throw.
Oh, I know why. Because for some reason I'm counting. If you see, look, there's Campbell and Bartons is listed twice. That's what got me. You see, for some reason, look at the top of your screen, Campbell,
I thought
Barton's,
I'd
and
read
then
it.
all the way at the bottom.
I was reading them down. You think I'm having deja vu. I thought I'd read it twice, and then
That's why I counted eight matches
Yeah.
listed, and now I'm like, how can there still be a king match? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, well, they'll be suitably ready to play this game because they're still warming up even in the first leg. Adam Hunt, double 10 to go within one. Go out. Then he does first start straight in, double 10.
Everyone's so excited about the Campbell Barton's match. They're going to play double elimination. They've got 2 games lined up.
Lee Evans now absolutely no margin for error whatsoever with Adam Hunt one away. Lee Evans has to hold his throw and then break. That is a solid start though with that ton.
Look at that! How exciting! Look at all of those 0-0. It's almost you've got a starter's gun.
It is, and sometimes they do it on purpose at this stage in proceedings. I mean, you know this better than nearly everyone. You want to try at some point because those early rounds can be so chaotic, and you can get a load of people winning 6-0, and you can have games going 3 times longer than the others. You get a board that's particularly slow.
Yeah.
It is good at some point, and often the last 16 is quite a natural point to, certainly when you're playing with 8 boards, to just say, right, let's almost reset.
You reset the day. Yeah, I was going to suggest that when I saw 5 matches were still just in the warm-up phase, and that pretty much seems what they did. Since they all started off at the same time. You're exactly right, Dan. You get to a place as an organizer, you want to. Where can we reset the event so that everybody now we'll have a nice flow as viewers? Oh boy, going the distance between Hunt and Evans.
There's a big check out, that ton plus check out there from Lee Evans, but that was just a hold of throw. Adam Hunt with the darts in hand now. These are nice. Oh, I'll have a box of them if Starbucks want to send me some of them. They're delicious. We'll talk about them every time I drink come on the screen.
A question from Sam. No, it's not. They would not cater to any one player. You just you give everyone a proper break. Generally, not too much of a break between rounds. But these matches are moving pretty quickly. They're just sort of, as I said, in a way, resetting it. So the rest of the event now will hopefully kind of play out together. So, you won't have staggered. You don't have staggered starts, so they kind of don't want a staggered finish. You want to have all of the matches kind of arriving at the end at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't matter so much those first couple of rounds if one board's ahead of another, but certainly once you get to the business end, you want to hopefully, the tournament to move through at a fairly steady pace for everybody. A few early breaks there as Dylan Slevin takes a 2-0 lead over Barry Van Peer. Boris Kirchmar, another early break as he goes 2-0 up on Jeffrey Deswan. Michele Terretta 1-0 up on Reese Griffin. This is going all the way to the wire, this game with Adam Hunt and Lee Evans. They're both struggling to find scoring here. Lee Evans, the first to a finish. Adam Hunt is going to have to put something big in here because he doesn't want to give Lee Evans 6 from 154.
Campbell would, I think, flashed quickly on my screen, but I think that was an 11 darter in the third leg. So Campbell's up 2-1.
Adam Hunt needs something big here. If he doesn't take this out, he's got to leave it handy. 140 would be all right. But that Lee Evans 96 is very gettable. Well, 140 is exactly what we needed there from Adam Hunt. He leaves 20. If Lee Evans can't take 96 out, Adam Hunt will get 3 darts at double 10. Dylan Slevin goes 3-0 up on Barry Van Peer while that's going on. Lee Evans can't do it, so Adam Hunt 3 match darts.
We
It's
watched
taken a
the
long
white
time.
box, the dark connect, and the longer it
taken a
takes, the
long
longer
time.
you think he hits it.
There
And
we
he does.
go. Yes, well done, Adam.
That
Well
that
done.
is squarely while handshakes are going on, the scorekeeper has yet to hit the dart.
Keeping us all bloody weighted. Do you know, we've had quite a lot of Andy Bartons and Matt Campbell on the stream. So even though they're both playing and everybody's watching, we are going to share it around a little bit. We're going to go with Rhys Griffin and Michele Torretta for the featured game.
Good choice. We saw Torretta stay in that last round, live through a 9-darter in the opening leg, and steadfast stayed in the match, and he's up 2-0.
He's and I tell you again, what Michele Torretta does is he provides highly entertaining darts. He might not be coming out and averaging, 111. He might not be blowing people away. But if you don't enjoy watching this, you probably aren't a darts fan if you don't enjoy watching Michele Torretta. Paul Crone becomes the third man through to the last 8, confirming himself in there with that 6-5 victory over Graham Usher. So Graham Usher won't be making it through the World Championships. Adam Hunt, Paul Crone, and Mervyn King
are your first 3 of 8 to compete for a straight-up shootout into the World Championship.
Now, as well, looking very much like he could be the next man in that section because he's 4-0 up on Barry Van Peer. Jeffrey Deswan averaging 106, so manages to find himself only 2-2. There is a Desmond on board 3. Jeffrey Deswan gets that lead established again, though he's 3-2 up now. Martin Dracht representing all that is good about darts against Darren Beveridge here.
The dart gods will even things out.
Remover of Steve Beaton from the World Championship.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
Didn't get the memo, did he? Matt Campbell.
No, he did not. He did not get the memo. Campbell up 3-2. But what an amazing age we are now in darts. I mean, you talk about watching Torretta play. What we're watching, we've now become accustomed to staring at a small white box on our computer screen with bated breath to see if a player is taken out a number. It's incredible.
It's remarkable, isn't it?
It truly is amazing. I mean, in the span of, it's been a little more than a decade now, but the ability to follow a whole tournament, every single match is just amazing.
And what's even madder is that people are willing to sit and watch talk about that happening, which is probably even more bonkers. Dylan Slevin now 5-0 up. We have only served 1 bagel today. The bagels have not been flowing, but Dylan Slevin within 1 now. As Jeffrey Deswan keeps that average. In fact, he extends that average up to 100. He's 110.52. He's averaging is the Swan. 4-2 up on big Boris Kirchmar. And Boris, this is really important for Boris as well because he sits in spot number 62 on £70,000, and some would say quite passable, especially because some players underneath him remain in the hunt. They are still here today. Lee Evans, Dylan Slevin, Mervyn King, they are all in the hunt. Lee Evans isn't anymore, sorry.
Barton's ties things up 3-3.
Lovely leg from Michele Torretta, 140 ton. That big 180 from Rhys Griffin does put him at a slight advantage still.
Yeah, Deswan needs that 110 average. What a tough customer Kritschmar is. I've enjoyed watching him get his card, and I'm not a big soft tip follower, if you will, but I know enough to watch the big events, and he's been so impressive in his career in the real serious soft tip events that it was just interesting to watch him truly come over and compete in a legitimate way. And
6-0, that bagel is served.
There's your bagel, Dan. We'll get out the cream cheese.
We've got one each now. We've had 2 bagels, so we can have one each. That's Dylan Slevin played some gorgeous starts today. Really, really lovely.
Glad we got bagels at the dartboard because there's none here in Texas, my friend.
No, you're not going to bagel in Texas, is that not? Is it?
No, sir. No, sir. It's a New York thing. No bagels in Texas.
Dear me, it's not good.
Oh,
good. Jeffrey DeSwan, one away now. That average is coming down ever so slightly, but it remains, if you like to round up as I do, somewhere near the 106 mark. Technically,
I like this as I like to do. Give the boys, and if that stays firm, so far that would be the highest average of the players coming through. Slevin at 102. So the Zwan's got to feel real confident if he holds true and heads into the quarters with an average and a dispatch like that of Kurtzmar.
Matt Campbell now 4-3 up on Andy Barton's playing. That's a really competitive game. That really matching each other blow for blow, going back and forth.
They just exchange 140s as they open up leg number 8. And the player not to be named is ahead 3-2 over Martin Dracht. And Toretta continues, as Dan laid out, to be the entertainment today, tied up at 2. Oh no, he didn't take that out. I saw that was a miss. Now he gets another chance at 40. He takes that to go up 3-2. So where's our friend Mr. Bars today? Is he on his driving home from the Players' Championship?
Well, I'm going to sound really ignorant because I know he's told me where he is today at least 3 times.
But I have no clue.
And I've slept since then, and that information's fallen out. I assume
it's secret. It's confidential. It's hush hush.
I assume he will be working. I'm fairly certain he did tell me where he was.
I'm sure he's going to have his hand in the draw. So trying to get some post interviews and all that good stuff. Leg number 9, Campbell. Campbell took leg 8. So Matt Campbell ahead of Andy Barton's 5-3. Campbell opens up with a 180.
World Championships Media Day. That's it. I knew he told me that. He's that busy, you see. There's that much going on Planet Darts at the moment. We've got that much coming up and that much going on. Don't forget, folks, I haven't mentioned it yet today, but I have to mention it, that on the 9th of December, we are once again pre-World Championships in partnership with Paddy Power, doing the Live Lounge live. We are doing our Monday night show live from the Prince of Wales in Ilkeston, a pub that is owned by Mr. Chris Mason.
Chris Mason, the great Mason.
So we're going to be in Mace's pub, the Prince of Wales in Ilkeston. If you want to come and have a chat with us about darts and be part of the show, we're going to be filming live. We're going to have some special guests. I don't think we're ready to. Well,
and Matt Campbell gets past Andy Barton's 6 legs to 3. So Matt Campbell is in your quarterfinals where he will face, I believe, Mervyn King.
Oh, balls. And this is the problem because you saw these. I mean, yes, there's only 4, but once you break them down in seeds and you draw that out, but then it immediately becomes like what happened to you with the North Americans today. They can't both qualify. It's impossible for them both to qualify. And now we've got Mervyn King against Matt.
I always like to have some fun with props. So let's see. Dan's got his Mervyn King shirt. The best I can do is I'll at least have a little Canada.
Oh well, yeah. This is. I've made it a bit more like that. That's a good addition. I mean, in fairness, I think you've probably got to make Matt the favourite just based on level of darts that we've seen today. Form, I think Matt's probably slightly ahead of where we think Merv's at.
In all fairness, to be exactly, I think just slightly. I think King had a really good first round. He didn't keep that up a little bit. Matt has stayed pretty firm in that mid to high 90s. So yeah, I mean, you got to feel good from the Matt Campbell camp with that win that he just had over Barton's. Good average against a tough competitor. So, answering questions to reset. Yes, everybody. The winners of the upcoming quarterfinals will be in the World Championship. Well, we have 4 qualifiers coming out of today of a field of roughly, what was it, low 50s, I think.
Yeah, I did at one point. I attempted to count how many players were in, and I immediately ran out of talent.
I was looking for exactly. I refreshed on the PDC page. I couldn't find it. I was trying to find on Dark Connect the exact field number, and I couldn't do it outside of, like you said, going through and actually counting.
Yeah, and I get too busy with too many things on screen, too many screens open, and I generally try and rely on other members of the team. Gob's good at numbers; he can count. I rely on Jack for those sort of bits of knowledge. Right, let's have a quick, because I'm just going to have a look back into the bracket.
And this whole thing has moved a lot faster than Dan and I anticipated. I mean.
Yeah, we're very close now. We know we've got that.
Yeah, I in my planning, I thought we'd be finishing up about 3 hours from now, so much quicker, much quicker than I thought. Which is a little disappointing. I'm having a great time, Dan, and I'm having a great time with everybody in the chat.
It's been really fun today. So Reese Griffin, big visit there. That 140. It's still just it's still just a hold, even if he can get through this. Michele Terretta keeping this game on throne. If he just manages to defend his throw, he will set up a quarterfinal in a straight shootout for a spot at the Worlds with our last man standing from the Northeast, Adam Hunt.
Beveridge goes up 5-3. So
yeah,
that eliminated Steve Beaton is on the precipice of a quarterfinal appearance.
He's had an interesting year, Darren Beveridge. We haven't seen a great deal from it. In fact, I would go as far as to say this is probably the most we've seen from him all year. It's the best that we've seen. He won a few games. That last Players Championship event, he went on a bit of a run, beat Petresco, beat Gary Anderson, but again, it wasn't a vintage performance. He beat Gary Anderson averaging 86, and then didn't improve on that much, and Damon Heta took him out in the 4th round. But previous to that, he'd had 4, 5, or 6 first round exits in Players Championships event. This is about as good as we've seen from Darren Beveridge for a very long time. As Reese Griffin holds the row.
And what an exciting feature game we've gotten. Just I'll make the chat room laugh. I won't go into it, but good for Gob being in there, standing up for himself. I wasn't going to acknowledge in there, but Gob just smacked someone across the knuckles.
Too right. And also, wrong.
Incorrect.
Wrong. I think he's managed to do. I think he's managed to do 4. Let me just double check. Yeah, all 4 wrong. He'll make a fool of me now.
Gob's saying, well, if Dan said incorrect, you can take it to the bank that they are going to come true.
Yeah, it is, honestly. Michele Terretta, again, that big 140, just keeping him 97, again, just keeping himself favourite in these legs. Again, the only important thing for him now is to hold, throw, and just get himself over the line. Darren Beveridge now within 1, just trying to get this done.
Yep, Dract just put one back on the board, though. It was 5-3, so Martin Dracht looking to go the distance, and Darren Beveridge back-to-back 140s.
It's Griffin. What a time to break through. What a time to break through. Reece Griffin goes 5-4 ahead within one.
This is moving so fast, Dan. My children are not even awake yet. I was all stressed out about the kids being up.
I forget how early it is over there. Mine is starting money for their tea.
No school today. They're sleeping.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wish that was the case, yeah. It's like Lord of the Flies out there. It's a bit Darwinian. There's some natural selection going on in the rest of the house today, I think.
As long as there's one or two still alive by the end of the show, we're okay.
They're fighting for control of the TV remote and access to the fridge and everything else. Michele Toretta, you're going to have to do something. You're going to have to find a couple of big scores to break through here.
Beveridge and Dracht coming down to the end here of leg 10. Dracht throwing at 97. We've got no movement. 73. So Beveridge with a look at tops to advance to the quarterfinals.
Toretta needs trebles here. He's got an opportunity with that trebleless visit from Griffin to get down to a gettable. Oh, what monstrous 1-7. I told you he brings the entertainment. 1-7-1 sets up double 16. Reece Griffin needs 1-4-6, or Michele Toretta will have 3 darts to try and force a noble leg, in which he will have the throw. Michele Toretta, 3 darts at double 16.
Beveridge missed tops, leaves 5, and now Dracht looking at 24 points, and he takes first dart. So we're going the distance in the other remaining match, still at the last 16 stage.
We're yet to find out in this other game if we're going to go the distance. Michele Toretta has missed 3 darts at double 16, missed outside all 3. We've been waiting for an update for a long time on Reece Griffin's 89. Are the hands being shook?
And there are.
They are. Michele Toretta's dream of appearing on the Ali Pali stage this year is over. So Reece Griffin takes out 89 in 2 darts on board number 1 and sets up a defeat for himself against Adam Hunt in the straight shootout.
So if you will, quickly, sir, get us over to Beveridge. He just hit a 180 and back-to-back 140s. We'll bring that to a close for everybody, and then we'll reset. And this is the place, everybody in the chat room, they will not start any quarterfinals until this match is finished, and everybody will be given the starting pistol at the quarterfinals.
And they are as well, don't forget, folks, those next games, they are straight shootouts. The winners of those matches are at the Palace.
So terribly exciting. Oh, boy, look at this conclusion.
Could have done it he could have reeled the fish in for a spot in the final round today. But Martin Dracht will get a go at 66 in this deciding leg. Pressure is on. Huge pressure visit. He's done it! Martin Dracht takes out 66 in 3 darts for a 6-5 win over Darren Beveridge. He is staying alive in this tournament.
Back and forth, conclusion, all the way to 11 legs, and the man who knocked out Steve Beaton gets his comeuppance.
He certainly does. And what that does, I tell you what, they are not messing around as well, because we've immediately, and I know that this is probably just because people are pressing buttons on Dart Connect and getting things sorted for the next.
I can literally see it. Everybody started to walk after that last dart went in. All of the scorekeepers started to walk towards their tablets, hit the players' names. The players are picking up their darts, starting to get their warm-ups underway. Scorekeepers at the ready. and we should, I would say, have darts in the air in 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, and
As more and more boards, there you go.
So we've got 4 games, folks. That's all we've got left. We've got 4 games, and each one of those games, the winner of those games, will be at the 2025 PDC World Darts Championships at Alexandra Palace in just a few short weeks' time. Their names will be in the hat when the draw is done at 4:30 in just 2 hours' time, where we'll know who is playing who and what all the brackets look like. Those matches for you: we've got Martijn Dracht and Dylan Slevin, Rhys Griffin and Adam Hunt, Jeffrey Deswan and Paul Kroner, and Matt Campbell and Mervyn King.
Congratulations. Yep. The 4 of those 8 are going to the World Championship.
Nico Thomas Cromwell was not playing today. This was a tour card holder qualifier, which is a shame, because when Thomas Cromwell is playing and I'm on the stream, I very much like to give incorrect facts about the other Thomas Cromwell for the afternoon. But I think Q School might be the next time that we get to do that.
So now is the time to put us on the spot. So Dracht, Slevin, who says? Dan Simpson says
Slevin.
I'm going Slevin as well. Next one is pretty easy. I'll go with Griffin.
Get them in the chat room as well. Give us your predictions. Tell us what's going on, what's going to happen. Yeah, Nico's missing the Thomas Cromwell facts. The Q School. Thomas Cromwell will play Q School hopefully, and I will fill you with Thomas Cromwell facts all day. I'll read a book in advance.
We know where my partner for the day is going in that second match. Just for a bit of fun, I'll take Griffin.
Oh, well, I am going solidly in the camp of Adam Hunt. Adam Hunt wins that.
We all knew that one. Now that this Deswan Krona.
Deswan played too good in that last game. I think he's hitting some really good form. Yeah, I think the Swan gets through.
That's what I'm thinking. 105 to dispatch. Kirchmar, good form, going Deswan. And I'll leave you with the last pick, because we know that I'm going Campbell in quarterfinal 4.
Oh, I think even just to make life slightly more interesting, even if I think Matt Campbell's going to win, but for the purposes of
since I went against Hunt, turnabout is fair play, and we got the Mervyn King shirt. Yeah, well done, Mr. S.
Let's have a little look in the chat room. So Matt's on there. Matt says, does Mervyn King keep his card if he wins against Campbell anymore? So the short answer to that, Matt, is he doesn't automatically. Mervyn King's just a little bit too far behind on that tour card race. So where he sits currently, Mervyn King, is on £57,500. Simon Whitlock on spot 64 is on 69,250. So Mervyn King would need to qualify for the World Championships and then probably win at least one game on the Alexandra Palace stage in order to keep his tour card. So that one just wouldn't quite be enough. We've got picks in. Simon's gone with Slevin, Hunt, Deswan and Campbell. We've got Dracht, Hunt, Deswan and Campbell. That Hunt, Deswan and Campbell treble seems to be coming up fairly regular. Chris has gone Slevin, Griffin, Deswan and Campbell. Charlie's gone King, Griffin, Slevin, Kroner. A lot of love in the chat room for the Swan. Patrick has gone Slevin, Hunt, Swan and Mervyn King. Paddy's asking, what's the story with Dylan Slevin keeping his card? The story is pretty much, or the simplest way to put it, Paddy, if he wins this next match against Martijn Dracht, he'll keep his card. At the minute in that Pro Tour Order of Merit, he's sat in spot number 66. He's just £1,000 or so behind Lee Evans in spot 65, where we think the sweet spot's going to be. So Dylan Slevin, if he takes this bump and he gets the $7,500 from going to the Worlds, that'll comfortably bump him up above the likes of Simon Whitlock, Lee Evans, Boris Kirchmar. So that should pretty much seal it for him. Obviously, there's other things to factor in. Mervyn King could win today and then win 3 matches at the Palace, and that could come into play a little bit. So there's no solid guarantees for players like Dylan, because there's other players behind him that are qualified for the Worlds, and who they could go and win it, couldn't they?
So let's talk about assignments, Mr. Simpson. Or are we going with Dizwan here in the feature? Or we want to change up, and then let me know. I'll open up. I'll open up a match.
We're not going to do that. Everybody knows where we're going here. I just don't think I can.
I didn't want to be the one to ask for it.
I know where we're going. Everyone knows where we're going here.
I'll open up.
Yeah,
give me one to what? Where do we want me to?
I think
I know you've got a couple windows as well, right? We want to essentially have eyes on all 4 games at the same time.
Yeah, I'll have Adam Hunt open as well. If you can open Slevin and Crow and Diswan, if you can open those games,
absolutely.
We have 4 features showing. The problem is, Sam, probably, but I think it'll probably look toss. When we get it open, until the games are underway, I can't open them and put them into windows. So once we get it underway, once the games start, I'll have a bit of a play around with the screen, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, 4 we can't do, and we don't want to do 2 and not do service to the other 2 games underway. So yeah, Dan will do his best to, if we see one game, if there's one player that's jumping out ahead, and another game is tighter, we'll toggle between them. But I've got a couple of monitors I'll open up too.
I'm reliably informed that 5 of the last 8 have played at Alexandra Palace before. 5 of these last 8 have previously made an appearance on the Ali Pali stage during the World Championships. Quiz question for the chat room: who are the 3 that haven't? Who are the 3 members of this last 8 lineup that haven't appeared before on the Alexandra Palace stage?
All right, everybody, we are underway with the quarterfinals of the PDC Tour Card Holder Qualifier to gain entry into the 2025 Paddy Power World Darts Championship. 4 matches, 4 winners, 4 spots at the Alexandra Palace.
Few correct answers in the chat room, which was Dract, Griffin, and Crowler. Correct answers there from Tom, from Bill, Dario, Charlie. And it's a quick lesson to everyone. If you're ever caught out with facts that you don't know the answer to, put them out as a quiz question and have other people provide you with the answers.
That's a professional tip from Dan Simpson.
The amount of times that I do that at work, I'll say to people, and do you know why this? And then they tell me. Oh, yeah, correct. Prompt something. There we go. There's a tip. You can all have that one. So.
Big. Yeah, sorry, Dan. Big. I've got this one. It's Krona?
Yeah, I'm going with Krona. I'm happy to be in the chat room.
Big opening. They exchanged 140s in their, 180s, I should say, in their second visit. So third turn for Krona. He's got it's 133, 142. So a big start to that match. We'll keep our eyes on that. Dract Slevin just with the first darts, and we see King Campbell about to finish.
Already, Matt Campbell's on throw here. He's won the ball, but Mervyn King already putting some pressure on. If this 70 goes, and Merv's he's got his foot down early. These games are such short formats, really short formats, that if you get broken early, especially because they're all good players and they can hold their throw.
Yeah.
As long as they can just start defending their throw, if they can nick that early break. Mervyn King 70, very gettable checkout 70. Loads of different ways to go. Leaves tops. Matt Campbell can't make a mistake here.
Double 8 for Matt Campbell. Takes all three, but he gets it nonetheless. And you're exactly right, Dan. In best of 11, that if you get a break in the first 2 or 3 legs, it's something you just put in the pocket and you can ride that to victory. Dracht Slevin after 12 darts, 120 to 117. So that's coming down tight. Krona picked up first leg in the opening of that quarter. And Adam Hunt Griffin still underway. Someone is still in the toilet. Now, this is where, as an organizer, that you've got your 3 underway and you're like, where are we on the 4th match? Why have we not started on the 4th match? What's going on?
Yeah, well, that I was trying to think of that. That in the last round, where the last ones to come through, but it was Martin Dracht and Darren Beveridge. That was the last game, wasn't it? That was the outlier.
Yeah.
What has happened with Reece Griffin and Adam Hunt? Why are we not underway there? That's an interesting one. Just worth pointing out, folks. It's very important to not celebrate too early, because now that we are at this key and pivotal stage of proceedings, we are not playing first to 6 anymore. We're now playing first to 7. And it's really important to not embarrass yourself like I've done loads of times on this stream now. Start high-fiving.
Jump up and thank you very much. Thank you for the chat, for catching that.
Yeah, the amount of times that's happened to me on here, I've made myself look a clown. Paul Corona with an early break.
Jumping up and down when they get to 6. Oops.
Certainly have. If there's a way to make myself look daft, believe me, I've done it.
No, I'm not even sure if that was necessary. It almost feels like if we're going to go best of 11, just keep it best of 11. But the other question I wanted to pose before we ran out of time, and I don't want to get myself too much in trouble with the PDC, but there were some players that didn't make this qualifier. We just had the Players Championship. But if you were not in that Players Championship, those 64, and you're not from country, it's a travel in for a day. It's a big deal. I know that there would have to be a reanalysis of the rankings and everything, but it almost feels like where that Grand Slam qualifier was coming out of 3 days of a pro tour. That's where this qualifier should be, somewhere like that, where you have the preponderance of all 128. Well, you don't need all 128, but you've got them more on site as opposed to flying in from Asia or North America for this one day.
It's really difficult, isn't it? Because you almost need this to be after everything else. You need there to be no other way to qualify.
Yeah.
When you do. So it's really difficult within a calendar. I mean, what's the situation? You'll probably be able to tell us, Anthony, with Matt Campbell. Is he based in North America? Is he currently basing himself permanently in the UK?
No, he still travels. Now, I know he may have an extended time, based on the events he'll go over for a week or 2 at a time, but right. he's still at home with his wife, and he's got young children. So he still commutes. He's pretty much has picked up the legacy of John Part and Jeff Smith in the travel. So he's constantly back and forth. So I would anticipate, what was the last event that he would have played? Would have probably been those 3 Players Tours, right? Because Matt didn't make it into the Players Championship. He wasn't in the Grand Slam. So I'm sure he flew in just for this.
Mervyn King takes a break of throw against the man we're talking about there, Matt Campbell. And Mervyn King breaks Matt Campbell's throw for a 2-1 lead. And it's sometimes, I know for some players, it must be prohibitively expensive. Mrs. S and I are forever looking at or pricing up, what it would cost us to fly, to fly at the States, and take the kids to America, and realistically, you look at the cost of, accommodation, food, being there, not particularly expensive. It's like being at home in the UK in terms of pricing. Yeah. But what prohibits it is that the cost of the flights is outrageous. It can be very expensive. So players having to come backwards and forwards. And again, we know that talked a lot about the money that can be earned on the tour. And if you aren't at that elite level, it's difficult to break even, especially if you're having to spend that much money on travel and flights and hotels and accommodation. It's a tough drag, isn't it?
It's a big investment. It really is, and that's why as we analyze this, we understand the commitments and we feel for the players who have made it all the way to this qualifier today and are going home empty-handed, and it may change the course of their professional darts career. So we've got some windows open. We'll get everybody updated. Obviously, you can see in front of you, but we'll give you some sort of insight. Dracht and Slevin has been pretty tight. Dracht just went up 2-1, but they've been matching score for score pretty much. Krohn and Deswan tied up at 2. Their scoring has been a little less than anticipated. Deswan a 92 average early doors, but we saw him put up nearly a 105 in the previous round against Kritchmar. King on pace to hold throw again in leg 4. Gives it back to Campbell.
That is an opportunity missed. And you might not get too many of them too missed. Campbell's done well, though, keeping himself in this leg. 3 big visits. Even with that 171 from Merv. Oh, Campbell was there to capitalise on the mistake, but Merv gets 3 at double 10. Could this just get messy this leg after some huge visits from both players? Could they both start to mess around? And they are messing around. Mervyn King busts it. Why Adam Hunt has chosen the worst point in the day to throw a stinker. He finds himself broken early, 2-0 down to Rhys Griffin.
Hunt will be thankful that we expand things a little bit, gives him some room to work. And Campbell comes up empty at 18, so back to King to hold and really put some impact behind the break.
What a messy leg.
It continues to be sloppy. As you said, high scoring in the middle of the leg, and neither player can clean it up.
He levels it up. Not technically, Rob, because there is that issue around Steve Beaton handing his card in. Steve Beaton hands in his card. It creates an extra spot. So it's not confirmed just yet. If Slevin wins, that would deny Whitlock the tour card. It does stack the deck somewhat, though.
Krona up 3-2 after a break. He's got the throw in leg 6. Slevin looking good here in leg 5. Couple of good scoring turns. It looks at 102, breaks it down to 40 remaining. If Martin Dracht can't take out 145, he can't. So Slevin takes a look at tops to take a lead, and he takes it first dart, so he edges ahead 3-2 in that top quarterfinal.
Like Paul Kroner's, let's be honest, Paul Kroner's appearance at this stage is a bit of a shock. This is a player who's not had a very good year since where he won his tour card at the European Q School at the beginning of the year. He's not had a particularly strong year on tour at all. He sits 45th in the development tour. So and yes, we know that the Dev Tour is loaded with talent, but you've got to admit it's unusual for someone 45th in the Dev Tour who's had the year on tour that Paul's had. He's done very little in the year, and all of a sudden we see him within a few legs of a spot at Ali Pali.
Deswan takes 118 out after a Corona miss. So that's tied up at 3 apiece. Slevin up 3-2 and slightly ahead of Drax in leg 6.
Adam Hunt's down to 70 to hold throw, and he has to take this out. She's got to get.
It's a must.
He's got to get moving here.
Sorry, Dan. Just confirming for everybody as well. These 4 players will join sort of what's called the international qualifiers section of all the players coming through Asia and South Africa and Europe and all of those
North America
challenge tours, North America, the ladies tour, et cetera. Your 3 major groups that will be pooled are the top 32 from the order of merit. Those are your seeds. The 1 to 32 from the pro tour this year, and then that last group of 32 quote unquote qualifiers from different fashions. So these 4 players will go in that pool and get drawn against the pro tour merit qualifiers in the round in that first round, with the winners then progressing to take on seeds.
4-0 now.
Oh my God, 4. You were doing 4-2, 4-0, and I was looking at 4-2. I hadn't noticed that. I'm looking at other standings, and I said, "Oh goodness, King up 4-2 and a 180 open." So now is the time for Matt Campbell.
The only positive is that if Rhys Griffin comes through this and plays at the World Championships, I think Mrs. S will be quite happy, because I believe Rhys Griffin comes out to the band Busted, of which Mrs. Simpson is a rather big fan. She often dips into the joint account for tickets to buy tickets for Busted. So at least that will be some darts I can put on the TV over Christmas and not get.
Small victories, Dan.
Yeah,
Small victories.
you can see I'm really clawing for a positive out of this. I'm desperately clawing for a positive as I see Rhys Griffin come, and he takes out 36 in 2 darts, and he's 5-0 up now.
And Campbell, Campbell he leaves tops. King on 25. We saw an earlier leg get a little messy, but what good scoring from both. Well, I shouldn't say overall good scoring, good spurts of scoring, some ton 80s, but King picks that 25 up to go ahead 5-2. And these quarterfinals have been extended to 1st to 7, so we'll keep that in mind. A little more room to work and a little more distance for each of these players that are currently ahead to get across the finish line and a spot in the Paddy Power World Darts Championship. There was a question. I see something about De Graaf. And on the PDC site, Jeffrey De Graaf is listed on the Pro Tour order of merit, the second group. So he's currently listed as a Pro Tour qualifier.
That tour card race, I think we can pretty much say with certainty, if Dylan Slevin gets 2 more legs on the board, that he does preserve his tour card for another year. And that is a big day for Dylan Slevin, because like we said at the beginning of the day, this isn't just about getting to the Palace. This isn't just about $7.5 grand minimum for going out in the first round. There, it is to some of these guys. It's a way to maintain their status as a professional dart player on that PDC tour. As Mervyn King edges closer and closer to doing the same himself, we know this win doesn't do that just for Mervyn King. We know that doesn't guarantee it. But if he doesn't win here, then it's gone. Keeps the dream alive. Oh, Adam Hunt, leg on the board. That's what we need. Only a
moving now, Dan. Moving now.
We're up and running. He was just luring everybody into a false sense of security. That's all it was. Now he's up and running. Now we're going. Now we're playing. Whitlock versus Whitlock for a tour card. Imagine that as a final. Surely Senior would.
I can't imagine a dad ever wanting to be in that position.
No, I tell you what's been really positive today. So there's a board. I've done a couple of boards in our house. There's a board the other side of the room that I'm sat in at the minute, on the other side, on the opposite side of the wall. And I've been hearing darts stick into it all afternoon, which means Billy, my 9-year-old, it means he's been practicing all afternoon while I've been in here. He's been throwing his Luke Littlers at the dart.
Brilliant.
Correct, Chris. Sky Sports is showing the draw at 4:30, but that's the worst way you could probably choose to watch it. The best way you could choose to watch it would be to subscribe to this channel and watch us watch it with you. And then we can all have a bit of crack and banter about what's going to happen. Couple of slack visits from Mervyn King there. 25 back with a 49. The Swan goes within 1. Dean might have gone too early with his celebrating, as he'd forgotten that it's to 7 now and not 6. But he is just 1 away, Jeffrey the Swan. Adam Hunt gets another leg on the board. That's a break of throw as well. Here we go, up to the 96. Happening.
Slevin up 5-4. Dract has increased the scoring, throwing at a 93 average. He's got the throw here in leg 10, actually. So we'll see if Martin Dract can tie us up there. As Dan said, the Zwan up 6-4 has come out scoring pretty well in leg 11. He's at the Aki with 129 remaining to advance. I'll keep my eye on that. Corona behind him with 120. Oh, he takes out 129 in 3 darts to advance to the World Darts Championship.
Matt Campbell takes 160 out to get this game even tighter. What a finish that is, 160. Spectacular from the man from Canada. As Anthony says, Jeffrey the Swan, he becomes the first World Championships qualifier through this event for the 2025 World Championships. Matt Campbell, big opening visit there, trying to break the throw of Mervyn King. Trebleless visit from the King, and this could get a bit tense if Campbell can break here. This could get exciting.
If you want to play on the biggest darts event on the planet, these are the type of darts that you must.
Adam Hunt needs 48 to get this game back to 5-3. 5-0 down. Few would have given him a chance. Oh, he can't do it. He's gone outside double 16 twice, I think. Rhys Griffin only on 40 though to go within 1. This surely, he's got 1 foot in the palace now, Rhys Griffin.
Big scoring all around. Dract and Slevin 5-4. Slevin at the Aki with 66 remaining. Dract behind him with 24 if he misses.
This is a huge leg for Matt Campbell, looking for a break of throw.
Slevin takes out 66 in 3, so he's up 6-4, and he's on the precipice with the throw in leg 11 to join De Swan at the Ali Pali.
Adam Hunt missed 4 darts at double to get this game back to 5-3. Rhys Griffin comes back for double 10, he takes 20 out in 3 darts to go within 1. Adam Hunt has had repeated opportunities there. He's missed 4 darts at double. Matt Campbell is going to get 6 darts at least from 65 to tie this game up, but then get the game on throw. Wow. Faffed around on his doubles there a little bit. Matt Campbell, by the looks of things, left himself double 5. If Mervyn King counts it,
which can get
we've just
quite
seen
tricky.
It out.
A banana peel is 10.
You He's got 3 darts, so even if he comes inside that first one, oh, he's done it. He's left himself in the madhouse.
Dract with a good performance so far in leg 11. Needs 81 with Slevin back on 219. Madhouse, one up and one in for Matt Campbell.
Split it.
Keep it up high. Shoot for the number.
He's got
and
it.
He puts it in first dart.
First dart. Well played, Matt Campbell. That gets the game on. That means Matt Campbell just needs to hold on to his throw. He needs to go into defense mode now. Defend his throw. Win those legs where he throws first. And he will find himself at the pass. And he won't do that by opening with 58s, Anthony.
No, he will not. Dract needs 25 to claw back. And he does. 3 darts for Martin Dract. 6-5 kept Slevin away from the Aki. Only needed 60 points. So the work starts again in leg 12.
Match darts for Rhys Griffin. He's coming for double 18. It's 36 remaining. He's got 3 darts at it. Adam Hunt sat on 40. So if Rhys can't do it, Adam Hunt will get a dart. Oh, he does it in 2 darts. Rhys Griffin confirms himself as the second player through the World Championship qualifiers and will be appearing at the Alexandra Palace in a couple of weeks' time, breaking the hearts of North East darts fans. Adam Hunt did play absolutely superb today. Real shame that he just couldn't quite get going in that last game. He couldn't find any of the form that got him there. You could not argue this wasn't an entertaining game between Campbell and King. We've seen a bit of everything.
Dract outscoring Slevin early doors, 3 turns in. Dract 140.99. Slevin has only been able to put up 260s, follows it up with a 58. So the door is ajar for Martin Dract to tie things up. A 140 from Dract puts him on 92 after 12, with Slevin back on 3-2-3, but he puts in a 92. So after 12 darts apiece, Dract with 92.
Oh, that's an awful visit from Mervyn King.
Do you want to leave the results for everyone, or quickly pull up? Can we pull up the other match in that other window?
Yeah, no, let's do that. Let's watch both games at the same time. Let's do that. I'm not sure why they're a different size.
It's the tighten up the box, and you'll see it actually get bigger. I think sometimes that works. Yeah, something like that. There you go.
Yes. Well,
don't mind that. Yeah.
It's there or thereabouts, isn't it?
Exactly.
There we go. So we can see both games now, folks.
6-5s for you.
6-5 both ways. Martin Dract, though. Oh, he's missed that to force a decider. Dylan Seedings, he's a long way out, though, on 111. This would be quite a spectacular way to get the job.
Oh, what a moment, right? If you told him earlier today, I'll give you 111 to go to the World Championship, he'd take it all day. And there he goes.
And that saves his tour card as well. Dylan Slevin will remain a tour card holder. 1-1-1. What a checkout, Dylan Slevin. Superb darts from him today. Thoroughly deserved and earned.
And look at Dan Simpson coming through, getting that match up for you folks right at the end.
Got there, didn't we? Just about. 6-6.
And we're going. What a way to finish this up, Mr. S. Lovely way to finish it up. We're going to. Oh boy!
Sorry.
Yeah, we'll give everybody the results.
Going wrong. I'm trying to get the results on the scene.
I was just going to say, you leave that up, and then we'll go to the results as soon as this is finished.
I haven't got the talent. Right, we'll have to deal with some black screen.
We'll do 5 minutes of a recap, and we'll pull up the. What a way to finish the day! Here we are, 3 hours on the dot.
What a way to start that, Matt Campbell. And Mervyn King, quite the opposite. That's not the start he'll need. Certainly not against the throw as well. Big advantage now for Matt Campbell.
Congratulations, Reese Griffin, Jeffrey Deswan, Dylan Slevin. Those are your 3 players into the World Championship. And the winner of this leg between Matt Campbell and Mervyn King will book their place, the final spot in the 96-player field.
4 North Americans would justify more spots next year, wouldn't it?
It certainly would go a long way.
Especially if you can get a couple of victories, a couple of first-round wins as well. That's the key, isn't it? It's those guys just kicking on a little bit. Matt Campbell down to 85. Mervyn King all the way back on 291. This is going to have to be massive, but he's going to have to rely on Matt Campbell missing. It's nowhere near big enough to put pressure on. Oh, he's set it up, hasn't he? He's not let.
I was so curious whether he was going to use, the bull route, go 15s.
He's not let the excitement get to him. He stayed pretty measured. King leaves 170, which by hell would be a way to win it. There you go. First start in.
Congratulations to the Ginger Ninja. Qualifies for the Paddy Powell World Championship. And if I'm not mistaken, his 6th appearance at the Alley Pally. So congrats to Matt Campbell. Congrats to Dylan Slevin, Jeffrey Deswan, Reese Griffin. And there you go. The man, Dan Simpson, brings us up our results, and we'll take a look there in the chat. Let us know what you think about these 4. What was your highlight today, and what player are you most disappointed in this field that did not qualify today?
I'm really disappointed to not see Merv King get through. I thought, again, you don't sit here in a Merv King shirt and not want him to win. I think everyone who's ever watched anyone throw a dart at a board wanted Steve Beaton to come through. Everyone was looking for a bit of a magic moment. And then beyond that, obviously, everybody knows I am aligned to anyone that's from, the northeast of England. So if any Geordies and Teessiders alike, and a few of those guys getting a bit further would have been great. But I think Jeffrey Deswan has played his quest to be at Ali Pally. It was almost too little, too late. The back end of the season, we've seen really good darts from him. We've seen him play probably better than some of the players. He's in better form than a lot of the players who'd already qualified. It's just they put the work in at the beginning of the year to get that, to get those ranking points. And so I think it's a much deserved spot. Dylan Slevin, there's a bit of poetry in that because he played some great darts today, but that was the win he needed to save his tour card. It was shit or bust for him today. It was either happening or it wasn't. Matt Campbell, Matt Campbell's such a likable guy that it's difficult to not take some joy in him getting there, because he's a good watch as well. He throws lovely, and he's nice to see on stage, and he comes across, the guy an awful lot better than I do, but he comes across as a very nice fella. Therefore, you want to see him do well.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. A lot of fun to be around. He's got a real cutting sense of humor, which is great. He doesn't take himself or the pressurized situations too terribly serious. He tries to diffuse things, and good assessment there that to finish that match, he set it up, took his pacing right, and that, lot to be excited about with Matt today. Came in as a 3 seed, definitely earned it, had to get through I think a pretty impressive Mervyn King on the day. So Matt's got to feel real confident about getting through today and his chances, in the world, and see where the draw brings. It was funny. Somebody said that Matt will be at the airport later on today, and they'll ask him about him getting drawn against Littler. Now that can't happen straight away, but yeah, Matt has had, to face a lot of tough opponents in the World Championship. So, North America is going to hope that he's going to have some place to get his feet under him. You talked about Deswan. There's some players that are sometimes in these events are opportunistic. They get a good draw. Deswan firmly earned his spot today. Played well, played some tough competition, and rightly is proudly in the World Championship. And like you said, Slevin came in with work to do, got that work done. World Championship to work hard, and unfortunately, Reese Griffin gets through Adam Hunt, but at least Mrs. S may have a walk-on song.
We'll get to listen to Busted on the way down. Folks, it's been an absolute pleasure this afternoon. We get a few of these qualifier streams a year, and they're always really good fun. We really appreciate everybody getting involved in the chat room and how much more you add to it. Please make sure, I know we've banged on about it loads, but please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We've just got so much coming up. We've got the live lounge live from the Prince of Wales pub in Ilkeston in a couple of weeks' time. We've got a mass amount of coverage coming your way for the World Championships themselves. And then even today, we'll be back. I'll be back 4:30-ish today for the draw. So we'll react to that. And then myself, Phil Bars, I think Cam McFarlane's on with us as well for the live lounge this evening, where we'll go through Players' Championship finals. We'll go through all the other things that happen in darts at the minute. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on with us. I know it's a very early start for you, but we really appreciate having you along for the ride.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Thank you for the whole online darts team for inviting me and giving me the opportunity. It was a whole lot of fun. I hope everybody out there had a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us. And it really is only getting started, the magic and the pageantry that is the World Championship. So thank you, Mr. Simpson.
We will be back, folks, in a couple of hours. We'll be back about 4:30 for the live draw. And make sure you subscribe and you get notifications so that when we do go live, you will get that bump straight away and we'll be back on your screens. Thanks again, Anthony. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. I'll see you all in a couple of hours. Bye-bye.